We back. That's it. That's it. We recorded. Right as I was doing the countdown to press record, I just got nervous. And I'm not one of the nervous girls.
Girl,
like
you not. That's me.
You always get nervous.
I do.
Well, I don't say
before every
always.
episode.
Okay.
No, you right.
I'm
No,
not
you
gonna
right.
put you out. I'm not gonna put you
Yeah,
all
you
your
right.
business
You
out
ain't
there.
lying. You right.
But you told me numerous times that you get nervous recording the episode. I'm like, why? It's just me and it's just me and you talking in a room. But.
And 500 other people. That's listening.
See, I don't even think about that. I don't
See,
even think about them girls.
I can't. I wish that I could just, focus like that and be able to just come to the mic thinking, okay, it's just me and Wise Guy having a conversation. I can't. It just does not work like that. But oh my God, it's been so long since we've been here.
And that's probably why I was nervous. Because it's oh wait, I haven't did this in a long, and I actually. My body feels like I haven't done this in a long time. You know what I'm talking?
You trying to get used to. My computer feels like it hadn't done this in a long time too. She's sitting here, sis. I had to blow the dust off her, honey. She was real tired.
She said, I thought we left that in 2018.
Girl, look. Thought I left this honey back then, honey. But how are you girls doing? It's been so long. We're glad to be here. Y'all gonna have that look.
Just telling me it's been a month since.
It's been a whole month. It's been a whole month, so I'm gonna need y'all to, be understanding. We're gonna work our way back into this thing, but if it start off a little shaky, you know what I'm saying? Just stick with us, honey. We're gonna get there. We gotta get back into the groove of it, honey. But did you have anything you wanted to tell the girls? Because I know you had been job hunting and things, and that was part of what kept us away.
I'm trying to remember what I last told them. I remember I told them about the job offers, but I don't think they know that I accepted a job.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so I accepted a job which they wanted me to start insanely, immediately. I accepted the job. I was like, okay, we want you to start that to be Monday. It was like a Thursday. I don't know what it was. It was something crazy. So, which me jumping immediately back into work. Was one of the reasons why we couldn't record, because it was our time difference was off and it was just a lot going on. And then the next 2 weeks was Christmas. Well, the next week was Christmas. Then the next week was New Year's, which we already had not planned not to record on those weeks anyway.
Right.
So it was just a lot of circumstances just led us not recording for a full month. But we are back. Just a little update. This is gonna be an update for you. So I accepted a job, and I feel so bad. I feel really bad, but I accepted a job last month, right? Because I got a couple offers, mulled over the offers, finally accepted one. But during that time, I was interviewing. I think I told you briefly about this when we were in Denver. It was another position that I really, really, really wanted, but their interview process was typically better jobs. Their interview process tend to be much longer. So I had already done 3 or 4 rounds of interviews, and so Their company also shuts down for 2 weeks, which is another reason why I want this job. Also shuts down for 2 weeks. So Christmas and New Year's week, they completely shut down. Everybody is off. No work.
Wow.
So,
girl, no wonder you want that job. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So they had already briefed me and told me, because I did my last interview the week before they were getting ready to shut down, and so. They had already briefed me and said, well, we about to get ready to go on holiday. That's what they called it, on holiday. So you're not gonna hear back from us until after the situation. So by that time I was like, I can't risk, waiting around for this job.
And it don't come through, and you
want to go ahead and secure the bag. Office.
Right.
And right. And so these are also good jobs, because the job I'm at currently, I enjoy the job. I like the job, like the work. It's stress. I come and go as I please. It's no pressure. It's really good. The money is good. It's a good job, but it's just not as good as that other job. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So while we were in Denver, they emailed me shortly after the New Year, requesting that I come in. They letting me know that I had made it to the final round of the interview process, and requesting that I come in this week for the job interview. So that was last week. So I came in for the interview this week. Loved the company even more. Saw the office set up. Saw, this is in a very nice area. Just a job. Met with the people. And so I get in the interview. I'm just a little side note. I'm just getting in the interview, and I'm ready to get my whole spiel, talk about finance and everything, and go over numbers, and really basically get deep into these interviews like I had done in the previous interviews. Because at this point, I'm meeting with the executive vice president. So this is the person over the whole United States division of the company. So I get in there, and he asked me, he's like, so how are you? No, not how are you. Tell me about yourself. It's just a question that literally 9 times out of 10, if you go to an interview, that's the question they always start off. So I'm telling them about my education, telling them about my schooling, telling them about my job history, so on and so forth. And he was like, okay, great. And he's like, okay, so I just want to, I'm going to re-ask you that question, because at this point, I'm not sure if they've told you this, what they clearly must not have. At this point, we've already confirmed or vetted you, meaning we already know that you can do the job. So I'm not going to ask you anything about, your job history and, finance and what you can do for the company and blah, 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 blah. He said, at this point, I'm just trying to see if you're going to be a good fit with us. So basically what that means to me is they trying to see if they're going to like me.
Yes, that's exactly what
that's literally what that means. This interview is I'm sitting here with this panel of people, and they just talking to me, and they just try to see if they like me. Like if they want to show up and see me at work every day. Basically.
They need to add that to every job, honey. They need to do that round on every job, because it's a bunch of bitches that'll be canceled on that round right there.
Right. So that I was literally like caught so off guard, but I was like, okay. So I just had to talk to him. We just had a conversation, talked about, if I come from Louisiana, I'm living in, the LA area now. Talked about the stuff. I like tennis, I like cooking, just engaging with them, it was just a conversation. I had never done an interview like that before. So, they told me, we're gonna, let you know by the end of the week, because we have a few more interviews to do, but we'll let you know by the end of the week. So I got the call yesterday, and they came in at my full offer. My full asking. I was so happy yesterday, because a lot of people, I don't know if y'all know this, I don't think I've discussed this, but I've always been major adjacent. Like I've never been directly, how you go to school for something specific, but I wasn't working specifically in my major. I was working major adjacent. It's like, okay. Because as a business professional, we really could be in anything, in any industry. I was working in telecommunications. I was working in sales, banking. I was working in a lot of different jobs since I've, been in school and graduated. So I've never been specifically the job that I said, this is the job that I want to do when I was in high school, and I said I wanted to major in finance, and this is the job that I want. I finally now have that job. So this is your
dream job?
This is the job that I won't say dream job, girl.
Okay. Not that
but
far.
This is my professional dream job.
Okay. My dream job, bitch, is to sit on this couch and collect the check. That is my dream job.
But professionally, this is my dream job. Dream start job, because obviously I want to move up, but you get the point.
Yes, I do. That is so amazing.
The company Congratulations. Is great. Oh, thank you. The company is great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually feeling sad because I'm going to have to drop this current job like a hot potato, even though I like them. I like them. They're real cool, and it's a really nice job. It pays well, but it don't pay as well as his other job.
Come on now.
So I'm going to have to go ahead and slide up on out of there.
I understand, honey. They're going to be all right. They will be all right, honey. You got to do what's best for you, because guarantee, honey, these companies do what's best for them. Come on now.
Right. But that's why I pretty much done caught you guys up on what's been going on with me. What's been going on with you?
I don't have nothing to say. Well, I'm lying. I do have one thing to say, but I'm going to actually save that to probably the end of the episode. I may put it out there. I'm going to think, a little harder about that while we in the process of recording. But I don't really have that much going on. I'm still at the same boring, damn, not my dream professional, nothing job. But what I will say is I had a great time on the trip, because you guys know we went to Denver for about a week and a day, 3 days after Christmas. Right. And it was beautiful. Like we didn't get the full Denver experience, but that's okay. There are some things that I would change as far as what I did, because I was pretty much the host, I'll say, for this event.
Yes.
And I don't think I did horrible, but there are definitely some things. Well, thank you, sis. There are definitely some things I would change though. Like next time I would like, if we ever go back to Denver for winter, I would like us to have a cabin maybe somewhere, and to actually be probably either closer to downtown or closer to where the mountains are. Either one of those two would be preferred. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed myself. It snowed out there, and you know we from Louisiana. One of us out there in Cali now, honey. But we from Louisiana. We from that's true. We from Louisiana, so we don't really get to see snow like talking about. But on New Year, like talking about. But on New Year's Eve, honey, it snowed out there, y'all. It snowed all day. It snowed down. Honey, down. I mean, it was beautiful, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves and walking around out there and just going downtown. I think we all commented that Denver's downtown was one of the cleanest and nicest and most beautiful downtowns we had seen.
We only saw one homeless person.
One, and we saw her twice. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same. It's the same one. It's like it's just one of y'all. So y'all, I mean, this is not New Orleans, because if this was NOLA, honey, woo. Girl, but yes, ma'am. It was really, really beautiful. So that's all I got on that.
Yes, I enjoyed the trip as well. It was a great trip, very relaxing. And I would definitely go back to Denver.
Yes,
you were
good.
an excellent host. I don't know why you're giving yourself a hard time.
Oh, thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. Thank you, girl. I appreciate that. But yeah, it was nice. It was really nice. But so how we gonna start this thing on off? Are we gonna get into some stuff? You wanna?
We can. I don't know. I'm completely out of the loop on what's going on.
On what's going on? Well, I know one thing that you do know that's going on. I know one thing that you do know, and we can go on because we gotta. That was the hard thing about being gone 32 days. It's like, where the fuck do you fucking start? Like, because it's just so much shit happening all the damn time. So there's one thing that I do want to address, because I feel like we kind of big Tiffany Haddish up a lot, and she had a moment.
Yes.
On New Year's Eve.
A horrible moment.
A very horrible moment. And so I think we need to kind of talk about that a little bit. So she, if you don't know, I don't know, you probably do, but she bummed her New Year's Eve performance that she had, and she was in Miami in front of a sold out crowd, and it was literally so bad that people started walking out, child. They was up in there. They was like, look, this is New Year's Eve. I'm trying to salvage whatever little bit of time I got left to actually do something enjoyable.
Go to a last minute club.
Something, bitch. Something. And so what happened? Come on. So what had happened was Tiffany had been partying the night before, and it led all the way into the morning of their performance. She said that she had been partying until about 7 a.m. that following morning, and she actually posted, what was crazy to me is she posted a video on her Instagram saying how she had been partying all night and trying to solicit people to come out and buy tickets and things. And it's like, girl, like you literally posted a video of you tired, not ready, trying to get people to come out and buy tickets so you can fuck up their night. Like, I didn't understand that. So if she didn't forget the jokes that she did remember, they weren't funny. Right. They weren't landing. And it got so bad that she cut her set short, and she basically switched it up into a little impromptu meet and greet, and she started, asking the people on the front row, do you got any questions, anything you want to ask me? And she started drinking vodka doing what got her in this situation, drinking with the people who did stay behind. And so it's like, Tiffany says, where's Tyra when you need her? Can you give me the Tyra treatment? What do Tyra say?
Tiffany, I'm extremely disappointed in you. This is a joke to you. I'm sick of being disappointed. I'm sick of all of it. I'm not.
You're not sick of being disappointed,
yeah,
Tiffany.
Obviously, I am.
No, you're not. If you were sick of being disappointed, you would stand up and you would take control of your destiny. Do you know that you had a possibility to win? Do you know that all of America is rooting for you? Do you know that? And then you come in here and you treat this like a joke?
I am angry inside. I've been through stuff, so I'm angry.
Yes, but it's not. This is not. Be quiet, Tiffany. Be quiet.
That's what is
wrong with you. Stop it! I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this. When you go to bed at night, you lay there and you take responsibility for yourself, because nobody's going to take responsibility for you.
And you know what's funny about that? That girl name was Tiffany.
It was.
It was Tiffany.
Oh my goodness.
It fits.
God.
It just fits. Tiffany,
Right.
people were waiting on you to fail, sis. People
were.
have been waiting on you
The
to fail.
comedians were waiting, because as soon as that happened, people were saying, "Well, Cat Williams was right. Cat Williams, blah,
Cat
blah, blah."
Williams was right. He said this. Y'all wasn't trying to listen. No, bitch.
He said
No,
that
bitch.
she has not proven her ability to stand up and tell jokes for an hour and a half, and I was like,
And
girl,
she gets in front of an audience and
girl.
proves
And
that she can't
I
tell
think that
jokes.
was her opening night of her tour. Like that was
Which
the
is
opening
horrible.
night of the She Ready tour, and then so it's
And
now
people was in the
She Not
audience. Did you
Ready.
hear them saying she not
Yeah.
ready in the audience?
Right, they yelled, "She not ready," and then she confirmed and said, "I ain't. She ain't."
That can't be your
Lord, it was a
tagline and you
mess.
not be ready. That can't be your
Right.
tagline and you not be ready.
Right.
Tiffany,
It was a mess. I
was
felt
horrible.
so bad for Tiffany.
I feel bad for her too, but I also feel bad for the people who was there that spent their money to come hear her perform,
Right.
and she gave them that lackluster ass performance. Now the people, what I will say is the folks that actually were there and got that, I'm not mad at you because there's no telling where these people done came from, where y'all done flew in from, and y'all trying to have this New Year's Eve. You done spent all this money on hotels and
Yeah, I'm
shit
gonna
for
go
this
down.
bitch.
Let's go to down Miami. We're gonna bring in the new year. Tiffany had it's gonna make us laugh. We're gonna go to the club after, and then you get down there, and then this is what happens.
And she don't know her jokes.
Right. It's a whole hot mess.
The thing is, and I want to say this, and I want to put this out here because we have had to come on here before and to stand up for Tiffany, and I think we both still fans of Tiffany. I don't think we looking at Tiffany really any different after that. I think you are with me on that.
Right. I
Yeah, we
agree.
still, okay. Yeah. So this for us, this didn't validate what Kevin. Not Kevin. We'll talk about him later. This didn't validate what Cat Williams said for us because of where it was coming from when
Right.
Cat Williams said what he said. And I'm somebody who, like, even when we talked about this originally, if y'all heard us talk about it, I was kind of trying to be in Cat corner just a little bit because I kind of understand some of what he was saying, but it was entangled in so much bitterness that it really was hard for the message to get out there as far as like how people like him who have been in the game for so long have had to work so hard to get to where they are, and they've had to do this and that, and they didn't just have a moment or a movie that just blew them up. And that's not to say that Tiffany hadn't already been in the industry, but nothing like she hadn't put in nearly as many years as a lot of these other people have that never get the amount of fame and attention that she got. And to some degree, I think that she did maybe get it prematurely. Now that I will say, and I think she kind of proved that with this, is that you gotta, you know that you had that performance coming up and you stayed your ass out to 7 a.m. and that's just, to me, that's just negligence. That's just a complete disregard for a gig that people are paying you, I'm sure, high dollar to come and see you perform. And that's really unacceptable, I feel. And that's not something that I feel a veteran comedian who has really had to work and go from this level to that level to this level to that level. That's not something that they would have done. I don't think.
Right.
That's how I feel.
What I believe is that she underestimated putting together a comedy show, because it's one thing to go on interviews and do stuff like that and be off the cuff and be funny,
Or to
but
go in a
it's
movie and
another-
act a fool.
Right, or you have a script and then you improvise off the script and you add, your own little funny elements and so on and so forth. It's a whole nother thing to do an hour and a half stand up. These skits, these jokes are not improvised. I just watched Ellen DeGeneres Netflix special. She didn't improvise.
We're gonna talk about her
this.
too. I'm not happy with her.
She,
Okay.
this stuff is pre-planned, and these comedians, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Chris Tucker, all of these people, they prep these jokes for months. They literally, it's like writing. They write a set and probably rewrite it until we finally see it on a Netflix special or see them in a comedy show. They just didn't write down some jokes and just go through and just. What I really feel like is that Tiffany Haddish has probably been too booked, too busy, doing too much stuff, and it's not, because it's almost like. Because doing movies and doing stuff like that, when you're given the script, you have to learn the script and then be funny on set. That's one thing. But you probably need a month or two off just to focus on getting this script together or getting your stand-up comedy set together, especially if you're doing a national tour. If you're gonna do a 20-minute, 30-minute set, that's fine, because Tiffany Haddish has done it, and I feel like she could have probably pulled that off a little bit better on, I won't say this short notice because she's been playing this tour, but I feel like her schedule they have been trying to milk as much money out of Tiffany Haddish, and she has been trying to get as much money out of herself as she can, and I feel like it was poorly planned.
She's overdoing
time, and then she was ill prepared. She just did
she
not.
was.
And that the night before, I'm not even concerned about the night before, because at that point your set should have already been solidified weeks ago. Beyonce ain't getting on stage at Beachella the week before, or just hopping up and doing something on the stage the day of. She been rehearsing that for months. They done already planned that months ago. And that's any live performance, any music, any comedian, any play, anybody who does any type of tour like that. That stuff you've been rehearsing that stuff for months leading up to this. And when I watched that, I felt like she had not been rehearsing it for months. She did not have the proper preparation. She really was not ready. She was not ready.
She's been relying on her improv skills, I think, more than she should be. And because I don't think she's as funny on the fly as she thinks she is. I mean, I'm just being. I don't think she is.
Yeah, I feel like I thought this before, that I felt like what I watched is that if Cardi B is a hilarious person. If Cardi B decided to get up and do an hour and a half comedy set, that's what would happen.
Yes, I'm glad that you mentioned her, because those two, we do compare those two quite often.
Because they're funny. You can sit them out in the interview. You can ask them questions. They will make you laugh. But at the end of the day, standing up and telling just for an hour and a half is a whole other thing. Now, I'm not going to say that Tiffany Haddish cannot do that, because I've seen her stand up and tell jokes for an hour, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, and I've laughed the entire time.
She can do it.
And I believe that she can do it, unlike Cardi B.
It's just a matter of doing it.
It's right. It's a matter of having the time and actually sitting down, getting the jokes together,
and caring about your craft. Like you mentioned, people like Chris Rock. These are people. Eddie Murphy. These are people that take their craft serious, and that's what you've got to do. People kind of almost put Tiffany in the category with like the Insta comedians. What they say, these people online like Jess Hilarious and stuff like that, like the people who we know from Instagram who can be funny in 60 seconds, but it's like, can that transfer to the screen? And people kind of put Tiffany in that spot because she's mainly known for acting a fool in movies and being funny in movies. But it's like, are you really funny all the way around, regardless of what you're doing? Right. So I don't like I said, I don't think that none of that validated what Cat Williams had to say. He had a spirit of bitterness on him, a spirit of jealousy on him, and I think that everything that he was saying about Tiffany, unfortunately, as much as I like Cat, it was rooted in that. So I wanted to bring something that Monique said, because we normally have to come at Monique neck, but she actually has something good to say. Some advice and some support that she offered to Tiffany. I'm going to read what she said. She said,
sister. Is that what my sister?
No, she didn't. But, my sister is just a given. She ain't even got to say it at this point. She said, the advice I would give her is to keep on going and don't judge yourself harshly. That was one show, one night. The next one is coming. And she continued and said, tell me other times you heard of Tiffany Haddish bomb. Come on, Monique. Come with the facts, because that's real. Because people was out here acting like y'all just see Tiffany out here bumming every other night. And that's not what's happening. This is just one time where something didn't go right, and it's like people ready to throw her to the curb. So Monique said,
go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to finish this real quick. She said, tell me other times you heard of Tiffany Haddish bomb. So let's just put it off to, she had a bad night, she had a bad moment. Let's put it to that before you want to just throw her away. That's what is so disheartening. We are so quick to throw away and go on to the next instead of saying, okay, she had one bad night. Now people are saying, now you have to go prove you are good because you had one bad moment. And I agree with that. I'm not finna sit up here and act like I ain't done recorded a podcast episode and it wasn't what I wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, or anything, or going to work period and you didn't have the best day at work. You didn't accomplish as much as you wanted to. Everybody has bad nights. And so Tiffany, I don't think we should counsel her, or people should just be acting like, oh my God, she's not funny. Like, give her time, give her a chance. And Tiffany put a message out there herself and said that, like, I did bomb, and I'm sorry for that, and this is not gonna happen again. I think that she probably needed this moment. She may even be listening to some of the hype that people are telling her, girl, you that bitch now. Everybody mad at you. You got Cat Williams, man. You got this. You got Tracy Morgan, man. Like, she probably hearing all that and like, yeah, I'm that girl. I can just get out there and do it. No, sis, you gotta work. You got to prepare. You got a plan, just like everybody else.
And then I feel like it was also coupled because she started talking about her family issues and stuff like that. I feel like it was literally just she probably was having a bad week, a bad month.
And she was drunk.
And you said she was drunk.
She was drunk. On top of that, it's like, girl, like.
So I think that she was hoping to get drunk to counteract the fact that I'm about to go up here and I don't know what the fuck I'm about to do.
That doesn't. If you're not prepared, adding drunk on top of it is not. It's not gonna make you look prepared. Like, it's not gonna counteract.
Right.
But she probably was. But whatever. That was that. That happened a little while ago. I wanted to go ahead and dig into that though. Right. So did you want to? Because I know you had some stuff that was connected to one another. With this government shutdown and things. Did you want to get into some of that?
So the government shutdown is still going on. It is at this point it's January 12th for us. This is the longest government shutdown in history. It's past 22 days. I think it's like at 23 or 24 days while we're recording it, something like that. So Trump was recently asked, I think yesterday, what is his plan regarding this government shutdown? Because it doesn't seem like he has a plan other than, sitting there and acting like he's not going to do anything until he gets his wall. Basically, Trump has been throwing a fit. Let me just give you, a
tantrum. He's a fucking child.
He's throwing a tantrum, because he wants his border wall. And I feel like the reason that he's decided to throw this tantrum now, because as we can, let's go back. So they have been kicking this budget, this government budget, federal budget down the road since a year and a half ago. This is nothing new. So when Trump gets up here and says you can blame the Democrats, the Republicans had the House, had the Senate, and had the White House.
And she's still been fucked up.
And they still couldn't get a budget that they fully agreed on for the full term of his election or presidency, I should say. They have been, passing, we've been having several government shutdowns, and they have been passing temporary or patch budget. Okay, we're going to fund the government for the next 6 months. We can agree to that. But they can never sit down and agree to any long-term budget goals. So right now, Trump has, and I think the reason that he's decided to do this and try to hold us or set a stance is because right now we have Democrats finally taking control of the House. So he now feels like he has the option or a legitimate person or a legitimate group to blame because they know he no longer has full control of the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. Mm-hmm. So he decided to go ahead and throw his fit and his tantrum now, and in an effort to blame the Democrats because it's going to look like, oh wow, the Democrats just took office and now people not getting paid, people are furloughed. This is the longest shutdown in history. That was his initial goal. But despite that, numbers are indicating that the American public is increasingly blaming Trump, and that is both on the Democrat and, for the first time, the Republican side. So despite him getting on the news, holding press conferences and, having all of these emergency press releases, blaming the Democrats, saying that he's ready to work in the Democrats or, vacationing and using all these different terms to incite emotions and incite hate towards the Democratic Party, people are beginning to see through it and still blame Trump. And that's for the first time on the Republican side. The Republicans are actually beginning to blame Trump for this shutdown, which is, it's in order. It's like, you remember when the blind, what is that movie called with the blinds, with Sandra Bullock? What was the name of that movie?
Blindside? Or you talking about Bird Box?
Bird Box, yeah, Bird Box.
Yes.
When they was like, they had all the memes trying to get a nigga to see his wrong with his ways and all of that. That's basically, it was Republicans they was just as blind. They was up here with these whole blinds on. They couldn't see nothing that Trump was doing. They act like they were just completely blind or dumb to the bullshit. But anyway, so in order to get them to see the error of their ways and even see that Trump is not doing right, or at least the majority of them to see that Trump is not doing right, that's a big statement. So regarding that, Trump announced yesterday, because he was asked whether or not he has a plan or if he's just throwing a tantrum, is what it seems like. And he says, yes, I do have a plan for the shutdown. But to understand the plan, you have to understand the fact that I won the election. First of all, Trump in this election, he his ego in regarding this election and his arrogance, and he feels he constantly refers back to this election and feels like that just because he won this election, he won the right to do whatever he want to do. But that's just a whole other discussion for a whole other day. Yes, but to understand the plan, you have to understand the fact that I have won the election and I promise safety and security for the American people. Part of that promise was the wall at the southern border. Elections have consequences. Duh. We realized that the day you got elected. But anyway, and then he says he goes on about how Democrats have been on vacation and that he's ready to get this settled. But meanwhile, he was meeting with the House. I forget what Nancy Pelosi's title is.
She's Speaker of the House, ain't she?
Speaker of the House. That's what it means. Guess what it is. Speaker of the House and other Democrats to go ahead and sit down and have a budget meeting. And he walked into the meeting and said, "Are you going to fund? Are you going to fund my wall?" They said no, and then he said bye bye, and he literally, and he went and tweeted bye bye. He got up and walked out and stormed out. What kind of president is this? But anyway, so because of that, let me see what part of this do I want to talk about?
Bye bye, like a fucking child. The government's been shut down 21 days, right? Is it 21?
I think it's 21, 22, somewhere between 21 and 24
something
days. Something
stupid, something outrageous.
Something, yeah. I think it has to be over 22 because I think that the longest.
They were supposed to get paid Friday, right? And they got
so Friday, which was yesterday for us, was their first missed paycheck. So this is TSA workers. This is Homeland Security. This is the people who do the air traffic. People, who monitor and make sure these planes don't smack a dab into another plane while they flying.
Isn't it postal workers too?
Postal workers. It's over 800,000 employees. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get all into that in a minute. But I did want to mention regarding his plan. Trump mentioned that I have the right to declare a state of national emergency and and put the border wall, but I'm not going to do that because this is something that Congress and the Democrats should do, and I'm not going to do that unless I have to. Basically, as a president, he can declare a state of national emergency, which under state of national emergency, he can immediately enact pretty much anything that he wanted to do. And he also did this executive order type of national emergency type of thing when he stopped all of the immigrants from coming in from all of these whole bunch of countries and did that whole thing.
That blew up in his face.
Early last year, and then he had to go back and walk that back.
Right.
But he's saying that he might do it, but I don't believe he's going to do it because if he does that, the Supreme Court is going to have to get involved, and Congress is definitely going to, call for the Supreme Court to get involved. It's just not going to be pretty. But we'll see where this goes. And what he did was he also disrespected the American people and says that they will be all right. They basically said he don't give a damn that y'all not getting paid until he get his border wall. He don't care how many Americans go without getting their checks. And this is a man who remember got a small loan of $1 million when he was fresh out of college. Come on now. But likes to act like he did it all on his own. Born into wealth and who used, poor practices and practices to actually further impoverish people to gain his own wealth. So if you go back and I'm not even about to get into all of that, but yeah, that's it for now. I'll catch y'all up on the rest of the.
And he got the nerve to be out here talking about, I've spoken to some of the people not getting checks, and they've told me that this border wall and border security is just important, and so do what you have to do. I'll be okay not getting paid.
Please.
Baby, look, what you ain't done did is done went out there to Dallas and done talked to some of them TSA workers out there, honey, because see, when we was out there in Miss Dallas, honey, they was looking like, bitch, I don't care if you got a bum in this motherfucker, or bitch ain't getting paid, honey. I don't care. So, girl,
Right.
you ain't done talk to the real people, the people who got 3 and 4 and 5 kids that they trying to support and pay for, like, girl. And so what's crazy to me, so this government shutdown, I think they considering it a partial shutdown because there are still certain departments that are still
right.
I don't know how much you're going to get into. I don't want to overstep you. So do I need to shut up and then we'll just come back to it?
You can go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, so what you going to talk about? Oh, you know what? I'll just wait. I'm going to wait till when you get to, because I don't want to overstep. So we'll talk about that later because I'm very opinionated about that. I'm highly upset.
Go ahead and do it now because you upset. Go ahead.
I am upset about that, but we'll hold it. I'm gonna let matter of fact, I'm gonna let Wendy Williams catch one of these bullets, honey. How about that? Let's let her get one. So she went on air December 20th, right? I think that was the last show that she did, and it was horrible. It was horrible. Now she on Instagram, she said it was less than stellar. Bitch, you was high and you was horrible. Okay, that's just what it was.
I didn't see it. What she was doing?
Oh, girl, she couldn't make. She was incoherent. She was
fading in and out again.
She was incoherent. She could not make solid sentences. She interviewed the Locks, and she just couldn't like form her questions properly. And there were certain topics that she
interviewed the Rock.
The Locks.
Who's
the
rap? What do you mean?
Rap group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I figured that you might not know who I was. They're a rap group, honey. But yeah, she interviewed them, and she just couldn't make whole sentences, and like she was struggling to get her words out there. Of course, y'all know she don't walk in like she used to, and like we have made memes and stuff of making fun of her walking in looking like a pea.
When did she stop walking in like that?
I guess ever since I think since the word of her husband impregnating his woman down the street hit the blogs. I think that's when she stopped walking. Okay. Stress. But so now she claiming that she done fractured her shoulder, right? And that she's been taking powerful pain meds that she's using to kind of take the edge off the pain.
Her shoulder, or did her husband fracture her shoulder?
Because what I hear, the word on the street allegedly is that, now this is crazy. I don't know if I believe this or not, but they say that her bedroom is soundproof so that her son won't hear her husband beating on her. That I don't know if that sounds out there. That sounds like kind of just far-fetched. I don't know. I don't know what goes down in Huntersville. But they just, I don't know. I just can't see somebody like a company coming in making my bedroom soundproof while I'm watching them make my bedroom soundproof so that I can get my ass beat. I just don't see that. I just can't meet myself. But I'm not Wendy Williams either. So I don't know. But she said she's been taking these pain meds and she's been trying to take the edge off of the pain that she is experiencing. I'm be honest. I think that she's been taking some powerful coke, and I'm not talking about cola. Not cola, honey. I'm talking about coke. And she's been trying to take the edge off of this failed marriage. That's what I think it is. And because there's a lot going on in that household. From what I done heard, allegedly, like I say, her husband done impregnated this little side piece of 10 years. Which if you with somebody for 10 years, it ain't really a side piece no more. She like a main dish. Right. Like he really got two main dishes. Mm-hmm. Right. Like he's got two chickens. There's not a side on this plate. I don't see a side on this plate. But
so he has baked and fried chicken.
Come on now. Come on. But I hear it now. She's considering divorcing him. They say that him impregnating this woman is what is a bit too far. I don't know. But then again, I don't know what the arrangement is that they made, because see, people get married these days. I think they need to start making like other options outside of marriage for people, because when I think about marriage, see, I'm holding you to a standard. I'm holding you to man, wife together exclusively. That's what I'm holding you to. But people get married and that don't be what they be meaning, like Tiny and T.I. That's not what they mean. They don't mean just me and you. They mean if I want Black China to come in the room, then she can too. Like that's what they mean. And so they need to make an option for people who want to do those types of things, so that I don't be holding you to, the confines of marriage when that's not what you signed up for. My thing about Wendy is, sis, you can't be the queen of tea but don't want to talk about your tea. That's number one. You can't be up here. You notoriously, you have been known throughout history for being messy as hell, and you don't just tell the tea. We talk about this. You sprinkle stuff into there.
Right.
Like
you
done this
extra stuff,
extra spices, things that's not needed, lies. One minute you'll say Beyonce needs auto-tune, and then the next you'll say she's one of the best singers ever, and it's like, come on, Wendy, like you gotta pick
a coke talking. What's going on?
Pick a side, honey. So. The other is, and Funky Dineva always say this, he says that if you, and I try to live to this because it is so true. It is so true. And even Funky Dineva lives to this because he would tell his tea before he lets anybody else do it. If you live in your truth, can't nobody spray you with it. He always say that, and it is so true. Because what's happening is you deciding, and she spoke about some of the rumors that were going on in her marriage, or that were out there on the blogs about her marriage about a year ago, and she said everything is good in Huntersville, and it's like, sis, but we saw the pictures that Radar Online put out there of the mailbox that's down the street from your house, associated to the other house that your husband done used your money to pay for the other girl, and inside the mailbox is her name and your husband's name. We saw these pictures. We know that there's more going on in your household than you are being forthcoming and being honest about. So if you were to live in your truth and actually speak on it and speak more real, then people wouldn't feel the need to continue to dig. And that's what's happening. And people are continuing to dig. And I think that you have lost control of the narrative because you're not willing to speak on it. Now you don't have the opportunity to really control the direction of where this is going. And it's getting worse and worse. And I think that being out of control is adding stress to already you having Graves' disease. And then you add to that the fact that you got a husband out here that's living his best life with somebody else.
Right.
It's a recipe for disaster.
A mess.
It's a recipe for disaster. So I don't know. I hope that we're going to have to see what she's going to give, because she was supposed to, after this fractured shoulder and getting on TV high, she was supposed to come back on TV this past Monday, the 7th. She was supposed to be back, but she postponed it, and she said that she would be back the 14th, which is this coming Monday. And then she postponed that, and now she's saying that she'll be back the 21st. So,
girl, I'm trying to figure out these TV producers or networks, how they continue to allow Wendy Williams to do this. I don't know what kind of strings she pulling over there, because for you to be
we
a live
still haven't
show,
looked up her ratings. We still haven't went to look up her ratings.
They must be good. They gotta be
good.
Because for you to be saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna push it back 2 weeks," there's 2 weeks of worth of money that this TV network is not
now.
Gonna get
What I think
show.
that they have somebody hosting in her place. Let me say that. I think that they do got
somebody.
somebody.
Like they did that white guy that
like
time.
they do a fill in. They got a fill in that's hosting in her place. So they still making some money. But I'm with you. As far as my willingness to watch it, it's a no. It's
right.
a no, sis.
But I think what they're holding on to is that the ratings the day that she does return back to the Wendy Williams show are going to be through the roof.
They
and
are.
I feel like, and another thing, Wendy is a smart girl. When she does go on these hiatuses, she does always put somebody in there who we can't wait to get Wendy ass back in there.
Woo! Don't she know? Now that's the team.
We can't wait till Wendy ass get back. I don't even watch the show and he get on my nerves.
yes.
Like
because she had that
the
man. I don't know what that man name is. That man that she had filling in for her the last time.
On black culture and girl, if you don't,
he don't know a damn thing.
At least Wendy is black.
I'm gonna give her that. At least, as deformed as she is, at least she black.
And you're not about to sit up here and then think you're gonna say the shit that Wendy do as a white man. Like,
come on now. And we don't. And a white gay man at that. That's a whole nother. I don't even know if that man gay. Let me not do that.
A privilege. I do it. Because I already told you, white gay men, they are white men with all the privileges of white men and then the few privileges of a minority. So they will definitely pull that minority.
I'm the minority. They will.
They will pull a quick fashion in a hurry.
You're
and
not,
then,
sis.
Girl, I'm not even about to do it. Let me stop.
But yeah, I'm ready to see what Ms. Williams is gonna be giving. I hope she's walking in. She needs to get her shit together, girl. Like you can't. You really are allowing all of this stuff, this whole situation to take a toll on you, and it's sad because it's a lot of. I feel like she's only dealing with this because of a insecurity issue. If you want to ask me if I had to diagnose her, I would say that sis don't feel like she can do no better, because I don't see why a woman, especially a successful black woman that you are, is messy and spicy that you add into the tea and all that. You are still a successful black woman. You're not, Wendy. You ain't ugly. It's. We all have things we would probably change about ourselves, but you're not an ugly woman. But and so I don't. And your man, like, to be honest, when them beach pictures came out, he wasn't looking no better on that beach than you. Let's just call it what it is. He really wasn't. He was just, girl. I couldn't even see where his swim trunks started because of the stomach. So it's not. I'm not trying to be. I'm not fat shaming, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna be out here cheating on me or doing whatever the fuck you're doing, you need to be fit. Because the nights that I do get you in my bed, I don't need to be touching that. I need to be touching something else. If you're gonna be going down the street giving your dick to another bitch, I need to be touching. So I'm just saying, I'm just being real. But that ain't the point. We'll see what Wendy give us on the 21st. Hopefully she's right now trying to wean herself off that coke again. So we'll see.
Lord, did she ever really wean herself off the coke?
Did Whitney ever really wean herself off the crack? No. So
no, See, we not doing this. I ain't say shit about Whitney.
I love Whitney, but baby, she was in that movie Sparkle singing "His Eyes on the Crack." I mean Sparrow, and it just is what it is.
Lord, okay. She had a good solid year and a half. She was straight. During the I Look to You.
She did have a solid year and a half that she looked straight. You're right.
Lord.
Okay, so what do you want? Do you want me to do another real quick, or do you want to go ahead and swing on in?
I can go ahead. We can wrap this government shutdown right on up. So as of right now, it's 800,000. You heard correctly, 800,000 federal workers who have
motherfuckers not getting paid,
furloughed, or I think that's
expected to work without pay.
Right, expected to go to motherfucking work and knowing that you're not getting a goddamn check. And so that is I can't even fathom going to work. Like so you mean to tell me I'm supposed to show up, go to work, and not get a check? And then there's another portion of this 800,000 who are laid off, meaning they're not even, they can't even go to work. Like that's like the IRS, Homeland Security, like those girls, they sitting at home, and then it was initially unclear because they sitting at home whether or not when the government does start back up, if they were going to be paid because they wasn't technically working during this period. You get what I'm saying? They're considered non-essential.
You didn't even clock no hours to get a check.
Right, you already hourly. You ain't even clocking no hours to get a check too. So when they do go back and back pay, you ain't clocking no hours to get back paid on. So that was a whole hot mess. So just
before you move from the 800,000, let me say something real quick. So what I was saying before we moved on to Miss Williams and the coke and stuff, the government is under a partial shutdown. I think Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security are still operating business as usual, right? All that is still happening,
correct? Because
those are considered mandatory spending,
right?
So with the 800,000, I can't remember what the exact figures are, but I believe that about 380,000 of them were furloughed, and then the other 420,000 were expected to come to work business as usual because they are considered essential personnel.
Right, correct.
My thing with that is, if you're going to, the whole thing is fucked up. Whether or not you put people on an unpaid leave or whether or not you expect them to come to work, it's fucked up regardless of which side you land on. But if you are going to expect people to come to work, they need to figure something out to where the people who have roles that you consider to be essential personnel are some way, somehow budgeted in as mandatory spending. The same way that you did with Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security.
The if same you got way you did with this top 12% that's still going to work.
Come on.
It's the top 12% of federal government workers still go to work, still get paid, or still get paid regardless of a government shutdown.
The 400,000 people that you say you need, if you need them that bad, then they need they check that bad too, and you need to make sure that them people getting paid. That ain't making it okay for you to have another 380,000 over here that's sitting over here unpaid, but at least them people can go, maybe get another job for the time being. And I'm not acting like getting another job is an easy thing. I'm not trying to make this okay.
People all got to get a job at once.
Come on now. I'm not trying to make this okay. I'm not trying to make it sound okay. But my thing is, you at least are like, okay, y'all have the freedom of your time to go try to do something. But you expecting 420,000 people to still show up at work without a check. That is unacceptable. For something that they are not responsible for. That is unacceptable. And those people need to be included in mandatory spending and getting paid. That is ridiculous.
So what they're telling these people now, it's gonna be all right. We're gonna work something into the budget. Y'all can't even work out a budget. So how y'all gonna work something extra into the budget to include these people for the next time? When Trump want to throw a fit, or any president want to throw a fit for that matter. Like it's a whole hot mess. It is a whole hot mess. And like you said, they need to be included in the essential personnel. And the problem is the top 12% of the people who are getting paid are the 12% who are making the decisions.
Come on.
To not pay these other 400,000 people. And they don't care because they're getting paid.
Come on. I know you saw out there where they were saying that the people, it was actually about to be a raise that was about to come through for certain members of Congress, including the vice president. Did you see that? They were getting ready to get.
I didn't see anything about that.
Okay, so it was an article out there around January 4th of this year. They hadn't received. It's certain people, and I don't know who all is included in this. It's not all of the 800,000 anything like that, but it's certain members of Congress that were supposed to get a raise, and every year that they have been approving this budget, they have basically been kicking that raise back. But it's people that's making good money. Like it ain't don't feel bad for them by not getting their raise. We talking about the vice president. We talking about people who make good money. That have not been getting whatever this little raise is for whatever reason, because I was looking into it and I could never find what the reason was that they keep not giving these people a raise. But whatever it is, they hadn't been getting it. So when the government shut down, it shut down right before it was time for them to make a decision as to whether or not these people get their raise or whether or not they kick that can again down the road and the people don't get their raise. So when the government shut down, there was nobody there to say, okay, y'all ain't finna, like, to push that can down the road so that these people, again, would not get the increase. So they had to, I don't know how they did it, but they did end up going ahead and kicking that can down the road. But it was not looking good for a minute, because basically you had your highest ranking, like you saying, officials who make the most money in the government were getting ready to get raises upwards of $10,000 and $15,000 a year raised, while there were several 100,000 people who are also, work for the government that were not getting paid. It just wasn't looking cute.
Right.
It just wasn't looking cute. And I'm like, whoa, okay, so why can't we use that money?
Right.
What is that money doing? Can we use that money and pay these people something?
Yeah, exactly. And one of the largest departments of the government that has furloughed the most amount of people is the Department of Homeland Security. And they are expected for every 2 weeks that the government is shut down that they would have paid over $730 million. That's what they would have paid these people that they're not going to be paying them every 2 weeks. And then it says, according to the AFGE, which is the largest union for federal workers, most members, the average member of this 800,000 people that are furloughed, or not furloughed, 800,000 that are working, and then the other 300, almost 40,000 that are specifically furloughed, they average their weekly or take home check is around $500 per week. So these people cannot afford. They're only making $500 a week, which is about $1,000 every 2 weeks, which is about $2,000 every month, which means that they can't afford. They don't have the luxury of not
getting paid.
Not getting paid. They got bills to pay. They got that amount. That little amount of money is basically just enough for them to feed themselves. Just enough to get by. Just enough to survive in this world.
And let me add this to it real quick. I was reading about it, and the FBI, the union that a lot of the people who work for the FBI are a part of, they actually sent a letter, to Congress and to the president saying that they needed to figure something out real fast, because as a part of the FBI, you can't be owing creditors and people money out here working for the FBI. And what they were saying is that there are people who are actually going to lose clearance if they end up owing this person over here money and owing this person over here money. And so this shutdown has the potential to affect not only the people that you currently have employed and causing them to not even be able to continue to hold the positions that they already were holding before the government shut down, but you also are going to cause them not to be able to secure the highest talent, the best talent of this country to work for the FBI. Because if people are concerned about, sporadic pay, because the government has been shutting down lately more than we're used to, that's gonna, that it's no telling what all that could affect down the road.
Right.
So it's just so many levels of impact.
Right.
Go ahead.
So just to speak on, I'm glad you mentioned that because I wasn't even going to mention that. But a lot of federal agencies, a lot of like FBI, because I think like TSA agents are a division of either the FBI or Homeland Security, one of them. I think it's Homeland Security if I'm not mistaken. And like those people, they have to meet a certain level of clearance as far as to hold those positions. And by clearance, we mean they have to meet also a financial clearance. They have to meet a criminal clearance, a financial clearance, which means that you cannot be in default, you cannot be a back pay on your loans or your credit cards, all of that type of stuff. And now what Tiger is saying is that essentially because they're not getting paid, they are going to be in jeopardy of being default on loans and a variety of things that once the government does get back up and running, they have to maintain that certain level of security. So, and this is all to prevent, fraud from you being likely to be enticed or bribed. Because if you broke, your likelihood of you getting bribed, if you got bills to pay, you drowning in debt, your likelihood of getting bribed is very high, or accepting the bribe, I should say. And so, as already being a federal government agent, you're likely to get bribed. And so, but you also being a federal government agent and then being drowning in debt, your likelihood of accepting that bribe is high, which means that, which is why they have that level of security clearance. Because I remember, because I had a family member who worked for TSA, and when they started implementing that policy, a lot of their coworkers would let go because if you didn't have a certain credit score, or if you had things that you weren't paying on your paying your bills, paying your loans, paying your credit cards, they had to let you go because you didn't meet that threshold once they implemented that. They implemented like, I want to say 10 years ago or something like that. But yeah, that's a whole big thing. And so my advice to people, as far as especially with dealing with your credit, if you are a government worker, and also if you fuck up your credit during this month, it's not going to get unfucked up. Just like the damage, you can do more damage in your credit just this month or a month and a half or 2 months or however long this government shutdown than just getting back paid is going to be able to undo. You get what I'm saying? Like it's not going to be able to undo the damage that you could do in this next month and a half to your credit, which will affect your cost of living over the rest of your life. The amount of loans that you can get, the interest rate you're going to pay on those loans, all of that. So my advice, again, especially with dealing with credit, I'm not going to go too much into it, but 30 days past due before they get reported to the government, reported to any of the 3 agencies that monitor credit. So if you can work out your money, just being 1 day past due is not that big of a deal. But if you could try to rotate these bills until no one of them reaches per 30-day past due, that's what I would be working on. You got to shuffle it because it's like that meme that says, "I have 4 minimum balances. Only one of them is gonna get this money." So we need to be shuffling and do whatever you need to do until just don't let any one of them reach the 30 days, past 30 days. As long as it doesn't reach 30 days, it won't affect your credit. But that's just my small advice.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. So okay,
Yep, I think it's back to you.
Okay. Okay, so I told y'all that I was gonna talk about Kevin Hart and Ellen DeGeneres here for a moment. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I feel like I already talked about this and my opinion still holds the same. What I will say is that Kevin has a new movie that's coming out. So he's been going, and the movie actually like it's gonna be good. Like it actually like it's gonna be a good movie.
The one with the white guy in the wheelchair.
Like I actually before
I might see that.
Exactly. Before this whole incident went down, I was on the list like, okay, because I normally see every movie that Kevin does because I find Kevin. You can't say all that, huh? I understand sis, but I typically find myself supportive of Kevin. I liked it, Kevin. Like I didn't really have like just this big disdain for Kevin, but the way that he's handled the situation has sort of changed things a bit for me. And so he's been going around from venue to venue promoting this movie, and one of the places that he stopped by was the Ellen DeGeneres show. And we already had talked about how Gary Owens had put out there his plea to Ellen to call the Oscars and to beg them to let him come back and all this bullshit. Well, unbeknownst to me, motherfucking Ellen actually did what exactly Gary wanted her to do. And I was shocked about that because I was like, Ellen, really? Like I didn't. But then I reminded myself, Ellen ain't a black gay man. So her experiences as a gay person and my experiences in understanding how rampant and how dangerous homophobia is, especially within the black community and has been historically. We just on two different pages. And so I was disappointed in the way that Ellen handled this, but I'm not gonna act like because I think I'm leaving cancel culture in 2018. I think that's one thing that I am leaving behind. I wasn't really too big on that unless you're just a complete fool and you're not willing to come forward and say I made a bad decision. Like right now, I'm still waiting on Tina Campbell, one of the Marys. One half of the Marys.
What Tina Lawson did?
No, she ain't did nothing. She's been perfect. She ain't did nothing. She's been absolutely perfect.
What I missed?
No, she's not at all. But I'm still waiting on her to come forward because as I see more and more that Trump does, it's like at least Chrisette Michele had the decency to come forward and say that I made a bad mistake. I had this in mind, but now I understand why what I had in mind fell short. Of me completely understanding the situation. And I think the more and more Trump does, probably the more and more the few black people who were out there running to support him, they understand, okay, now I'm seeing more of it, I'm understanding more. But I still hadn't seen anything from Tina, who said that she voted for Trump because of his Christian views. I still hadn't seen where she's come forward and said, okay, I see, I'm waiting on her to say that. And then I'm done. I'm done with it. Like as soon as you say, okay, I shouldn't have voted for him, I'm done. Like I don't want to cancel you, because canceling you means canceling the other Mary. I don't want to cancel you. I love Mary songs. I don't want to cancel
Tina
y'all.
Is the one that can actually sing. Erica.
Come on now, you speaking truth. Tina, you the one that can actually get up there with a Yolanda. Oh, but no, I'm not gonna say you ain't as good now. Let me dial it down.
She may be three persons to the left of Yolanda.
You a few notches under Yolanda. Yeah, you could be on the stage, standing there with your mic off. Because Yolanda don't need no help, bitch. Yolanda can come for Whitney. Yolanda can come for Whitney, but that's a whole nother conversation. Let's get back to the topic at hand. So, like I said, he's been going around to all of these media outlets, and the thing is, most of these people, they're allowing him to become a victim of a situation that really he created himself. Right. Okay, that's how I feel about it, because when this all happened, if Kevin just would have simply apologized instead of making...
But he's arrogant.
He's arrogant. And he has a huge ego.
He has almost like a godly complex. Like everything that he does is right. Because
he does.
I was listening to Larry when they talked about the fact that the Indians and the Cowboys party, he took no remorse. He took, like, people were crying out for him to understand, and he did not. He refuses. So I almost was going to see this movie, but I'm now thinking about I might even support him, because at the end of the day, it's not that he's canceled. It's just that he has a willingness to not take action or even attempt to understand his wrong, and he feels like he does none.
Yes, and I told you that I was gonna send you that video for you to jailbreak a fire stick, bitch. Okay, because for the people that we don't support, you can watch the movie right on this jailbreak fire stick. Exactly. See, the people that I go to the movies and I support folk. Widows with Viola Davis, I made sure to have my ass in that motherfucking theater. But for these motherfuckers like Kevin that I really ain't checking for at this moment, bitch, I would be right on this fire stick. I'm still gonna see the movie, bitch. I'm gonna turn off all these lights, and you just won't get $1. You won't get $1, bitch. I'll make this living room a theater, okay? And that's what I'm gonna do with Kevin. So I was disappointed with Ellen because she basically allowed Kevin to come on there. She didn't explain to him really none of what the issue was, why the LGBT community had a problem with what he said. She just allowed him to come on there and to make himself be a victim of the situation. There's just a dark cloud now over me hosting the Oscars, and this was supposed to be such a great moment, and it was kind of taken away from me, and I just feel like and he did all of that.
You took away from yourself. You said you're not going to do it because you're not going to apologize, because you already apologized for what you in actuality you didn't apologize for.
Come on now. And you know what? Don Lemon actually confirmed that too as well, because I know that I did my research to try to find out if Kevin actually apologized for this, and Don Lemon has spoken about this several times. He's actually even gone to The View and spoken about it as well, and he said that Kevin Hart did not apologize. He said at most you can interpret what Kevin Hart said years ago about this situation as an excuse. The same thing that he's doing today, which is making tons of excuses. And he even spoke to Kevin Hart on the phone. Kevin didn't even want to come on his show, and that's because Don Lemon was actually one of the few people who were willing to hold Kevin to the fire for the things that he said, because homophobia is rampant. It's not so much about... Let me say this. If in all of the jokes that Kevin Hart has made about homophobia, and about, you know, that the jokes that have been homophobic. If in any of that he would have said, you know, I don't have no problem with gay people, or just a throw out there line like that, I wouldn't even be here today, because then I understand that it is just a joke. I'm not somebody who can't take a joke. I'm not
funny anyway, so
it don't even matter. I wasn't gonna laugh regardless, so it don't even really matter. But I'm not somebody who can't take a joke, even about black people. And I know black people don't really be here for white people making jokes. But you know, that's a whole nother subject. They don't be here. I'm somebody who can take a joke, especially if I know that it's not coming from
a malicious place.
A malicious place. Like, but you've got to put that out there. If you're making jokes about, you know, you're joking about violence towards your child because he's gay, and you're not really putting out there that I don't have a problem with gay people, and you're not willing to be an ally for gay people, or whatever the case may be, I can't really make an excuse for what you're saying. But if he would have done that, then I wouldn't even be here. And Don Lemon has been really running counter arguments out here in the streets for us. And
he's been running facts.
He has been running facts. And I appreciate Don for that, because Don is a black gay man, and he's more adept and better suited to understand exactly what the issues were with this. But Ellen actually got up there and she was like, you know, the majority of the LGBT community, we want you to host the Oscars. We want you to do this. And then come on. And then there's a small percentage of us that, you know, that are haters, and you can't give those haters the. And I'm like, really, Ellen? Like, basically what it sounds like.
Say this? I don't know what.
What it sounds like you saying is that the people who don't agree with with the way that Kevin Hart handled this is haters, and then everybody else are fans of his. And it's like, Ellen, you have not been in our community to experience the impact of homophobia on black men, so you don't understand. And it's like, I don't know what white men go through, because I'm not a white man, so I don't know what they go through with their families. I have friends now who were raised in the church and are now grown men and are as far away from God as they possibly could be, partly due to the homophobia that they experienced growing up. And it's so deep, and I can say so much on it, but I really don't even feel like giving Kevin all of that. My thing is that Kevin doesn't care. He's out here now soliciting support, because like I say, the LGBT, the black community is very supportive of the statements that he made, and they feel like he said he apologized, and that means he apologized even though he never did. And
where's the apology? If y'all can produce an apology, we'll reconsider. But y'all can't.
Then we'll reconsider. If you can find where, this is what I'm gonna ask for. Yeah, because for anybody out there who's listening and feel like I'm still talking about this, and why the fuck am I still talking about this, and I need to move the fuck on. If you can produce for me that initial apology that Kevin said that he had, then I will stand here on the mic next week and say, girl, I'm wrong. He did actually apologize. If you can produce it, then I will do that. But if you cannot,
just taking his word when he said that he said I apologize before when he actually did it. So,
and when Don Lemon
operating facts,
come on now, and when Don Lemon went on The View, one of the women, I guess she was trying to be, I don't know what she was trying to be, but Don Lemon got her together. But she was like, you know, all of us women on this panel have had to apologize for something at some point. She said, even you have had to apologize for things at some point. And that's fine. Like, everybody has to apologize at some point in your life. Like, nobody is absolutely perfect. And she was like, you know, who determines if an apology is genuine or not? Who determines that? And Don Lemon told her that he said you can feel it. You can feel when he says, if someone comes to you and they say, you know, Megan, I'm so sorry. I really didn't understand what you were saying. I didn't get the fact that this affected you this way. And I really do. Like, that's one thing. But then if somebody say, I already apologized for this, but I'm finna apologize again. I said I'm sorry, but like that's a whole nother type of energy.
Right.
And there's nothing genuine. She said that you can tell. He said that you can tell the difference between what I just said.
Right.
You can feel the difference between what I just said. And so shout out to Don Lemon, because he's really made a turnaround. Because, you know, he ain't always been here. He ain't always been. He ain't always been what we needed him to be. But he is here today.
Yes,
we do. And he even said, he said, think about it. He said, how many black, gay, he said, you know, and even famous men do you know that are out here speaking about the issues that we as black gay men face? He said, how many? Can you name any? And the panel was sitting there shook. They were sitting there
Right.
shook. He was like, so I kind of feel a need to speak on behalf of us. And I thank him for that because Ellen does not speak for me.
Right.
She does not speak for me.
I like Ellen. It's not gonna just. I'm just disappointed.
I like Ellen too.
I'm just disappointed. That's all I can do.
Come on. You
This
use
is
my
probably
word.
one of
I'm
the-
disappointed too.
This is one of the first times that she's disappointed me. Probably won't be the last, but she's had a long track record. I'm not gonna cancel her for this, but I am disappointed. That's all
I am
can
too.
say.
And the thing is, she personally knows Kevin. They have a personal relationship. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't feel like Kevin necessarily has a problem with gay people as far as it not impacting his own life. I don't think that he has a problem with gay people. I think that he has, he doesn't want a gay person in his family. He doesn't want his son to be gay. Let me speak to that real quick because one of the main. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you come on in, but I gotta say this because I saw this comment under most of the videos of Don Lemon talking about this, and that people were saying, "What straight man in his right mind would want his son to be gay?" The number one thing that we have got to face and we've got to deal with is the fact that people can be born gay. We've got to start there because that we can't even agree on that. And if we can't even agree on the fact, there's a bunch of straight people who ain't never experienced a gay feeling or don't know nothing about being gay in their life, who are steady and constantly trying to tell gay people that you cannot be born away. But even though they don't know nothing about it, we have got to first agree on that, because if you can't even agree on the fact that somebody can be born gay, then you can't understand the importance of not saying and not speaking the way that Kevin Hart did. You can't even begin to fathom that if you can't first accept that it is possible for your child to be born gay. I don't know one gay person that if presented with an option to be born gay or be born straight would have selected gay. Especially if up front they would say that you are going to not be liked by the community that you are a part of. This community right here is not going to like you. These people right here are going to say you're going to hell. These people right here are going to say this. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Like if all of the negatives and all of the cons of what it means to be gay would have been presented up front, and you had a blue pill that was straight and a red pill that was gay. I don't know too many gays in my life. I don't think I know any that would have selected the gay pill and would have just decided to endure all of the hate and all of the harm and all of these different things and being exiled from your family and having to raise yourself and having to come to terms with what love is yourself, because you don't have parents that accept you. You can't bring a boyfriend home at any point in your life, so you've got to figure out all that stuff on your own. I don't know anybody else. I don't know anybody that would have just selected that. So we got to come to terms with the fact that you can first be born gay, and then we can deal with all the other stuff. But that's the problem. We can't even get that together. So all of this other stuff, y'all ain't gonna never understand. Y'all ain't gonna never get it. So
right, and I'm gonna say this because you said that you don't necessarily believe that he has a problem. But what I do believe is that from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So to me, I'm not gonna sit up here and give him that much, because I have something that I believe that says otherwise. But we're gonna keep it pushing today.
We're gonna keep it pushing. Some people have a problem with what they are, but some people have a problem coping with their own feelings and their own.
Right. So, government shut down due to Trump throwing his tantrum about this border wall. But let's dive a little bit deeper into what this border wall symbolizes and what his goals are. The border wall is to stop immigration, specifically from Mexico. That's I'm sure we can all agree on that. His goal is to decrease the amount of illegal immigrants who are crossing the southern border.
His goal is to decrease the amount of brown people coming into this country.
Exactly. That's cut and dry. But right now, the U.S. America is facing a birth control decrease, or the birth control rate is falling drastically. In addition to birth rate. Did I say birth control rate? What did I don't remember what I said.
You did.
The
I was
birth
wondering.
rate
Okay.
in America is falling, not birth control rate. Well, the birth control rate might be going up, but I don't know. I don't know if it's true. But I do know that less and less Americans are being born. People are having less and less kids. And they're waiting longer to have kids if they have kids at all.
Girl, children is expensive, honey. They is expensive, girl.
So you couple that with the fact that we do have an increased, or we have one of the largest elderly populations that America's ever had, meaning the age of 65 or 70 to 90 and up. So basically, 65 and up, that group, that population of people is as large as it's ever been. So what we're going to be facing is that over the next 20 years or less, or maybe 30 years for some of these people, that entire generation of people is going to be gone. Most likely, over the next 20, 30 years, really. I would say the entire generation. The majority of those people are expected to pass on in the next 20 and 30 years. So that's a huge portion of the American population. The reason that we have reached the reason that we're seeing a new height in that age demographic, people are reaching, 70, 80, 90 something years old, is because of medicine and, how we are understanding our bodies and able to live healthier and longer lives. And then even if you do get sick, doctors and hospitals are able to keep people from living for longer than they have historically been able to keep them living. So you see people 70, 80, 90 years old, still living. But they're not expected to live until 130. You get what I'm saying? They are expected to at some point over the next 20 and 30 years for that generation or that population of people to decrease dramatically, because they will, unfortunately, just pass. So with that happening, and then the fact that the American birth rate is also decreasing, the American population and the growth and the workforce is expected to decrease dramatically over the next 20 to 30, 40, 50 years. And they are speculating that the only way that America will be able to sustain the work population, be sustained as a country, is if we increase the actual amount of immigrants that we are allowing into this country. Because they've done a study basically looking at the birth rates of America over the last 10 or 15 years. And they said it would be much worse had not immigrants come to this country and then gave birth to children. That if there were no immigrants that came to this country then gave birth to children who gave birth to children, the work population and the American birth rate would have already been at a deficit. And the reason that this is important is because the way that our Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security is set up, the young population, the working individuals like you and I, like most of you guys listening who are going to work, clocking a check, getting taxes taken out of our check, we are supporting the Social Security and the Medicare and the Medicaid and all of that for the older generation. Mm-hmm. So that can no longer work. So if the older generation gets to a point where it's larger than the working generation of people, and the working class of the working generation or the younger generation of people is not large enough to support their elders, then it's going to lead to a collapse in that entire system. So they're actually, I knew the term, or I just didn't write it down. The people who are actually study population growth and economics, they're probably economists or some form of economists, are actually saying that we actually need immigrants. As America is expected to make it over the next 50 years, we actually need immigrants to sustain our population, because Americans are not giving birth like they used to. They're not having as much children, and that the only way to counteract that is if we invite new people into our country to help us grow, because that's just the only way we're going to survive. So Trump up here trying to stop a border wall that is actually saying that these immigrants are taking the jobs and they're devastating the American economy, so on and so forth. When we have evidence to prove that if we don't let them in, if we don't secure them now, we'll be doomed in the future. So I just wanted to bring that perspective out to you guys.
They don't even, when it comes to facts like that, they don't even care about that. They just want to go back to just a country full of people with pale skin.
And one of the major flaws in the American political or government system or constitutional system is presidencies, and how not just presidencies, but how politicians and people are rotated every 2 to 4 years. You get what I'm saying? So what that means is that the people in office are only thinking short term.
Yep.
They are only thinking short term, and we have no true people in government who are here to think long term and to respond to these long term issues in America, to respond to global warming, to respond to the population deficit that's going to happen, to respond to issues that we know are going to be happening in the next 50 years, because all they're concerned about is inciting emotion and getting through the next 2 to 4 years. That's all they're concerned about. So that's one of the major inefficiencies in our American government system, and that needs to be addressed. But with these short-term people in office, it's not going to get addressed. It's just going to continue to be worse. So
let me add this: the of that 800,000 that ain't getting paid back to this government shutdown, if whoever in that group voted for Trump, you getting what you're supposed to get. You don't need a check. You don't deserve a check. And actually, I wish that they could take the people out of that number who did not vote for Trump and substitute their check with somebody in some other industry that did vote for him. Because see, it's somebody that works at my job that they ended up getting on this topic, and I had to stay my ass up out of it all. But they ended up getting on this topic, and they were talking about the government shutdown, and this individual who is still receiving a check said, well, yes, the government does need to shut down because there is a crisis on the border. They are bringing drugs and stuff in, and we need to do this and do that.
And they're smoking it.
And she looked like it. Because she white.
You go right up there, you just smoking it. Or whatever.
Come on.
It up,
she white, and I don't know what her age is. Because you know what that meth do. You know what it do. I don't know because I don't do those things. But it makes people look older. But and it's like it's so easy to sit there and say what needs to happen when your check came through, it cleared. Right. It's real easy to say yes, the government needs to shut down when you can still pay your mortgage.
Right.
That's super simple. But when you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, so I think that of that number, the people who didn't vote for him are the ones that they need to be trying to find out a way to get them motherfuckers paid, because they didn't ask for this shit.
Right.
They didn't vote for this shit.
Right. And Canada just recently announced their plan to induct over 1 million immigrants over the next 3 years into their country, because they understand that they need immigrants to sustain, and that they're going to be welcoming immigrants over the next 3 years. They plan to introduce over 1 million immigrants into the Canadian population. So I might have to check that right on now, because I might have to slide on over.
Slide on up, honey. Slide on up there, honey. She ain't too far away either.
To Canada, they have free.
I heard they don't legalize marijuana up there too. So
they have legalized it as a country.
I might have to slide on. Yes, honey. Canada getting some shit right. Let me just say that.
Right. So we have to stick a pin in that one. I may have to give you the number. But that's it for me for reckless driving. Did you have anything? If you want to add to that?
No. I don't know. I'll see what the spirit puts on my heart about if anything comes up about regular driving that I want to mention again. No, but as for right now, we're gonna move to something that is actually current. And I know that you say you haven't had all the time and stuff to pay attention to what's going on. Did you hear anything about Kaya?
Kaya,
honey. My neck, my back. My neck, my back.
No, I saw her.
My neck, my van.
A pillow on Instagram, but
you saw her fighting a pillow.
She was showing how she was gonna drag somebody. I don't know what she was doing, but I didn't.
She probably was talking about P.R. Thomas, or as people call him, his name is P. She probably was talking about dragging his ass because he is a record executive or a record label owner or whatever. Those have you heard of that new group, the City Trends Girls?
Mm-hmm.
I mean the City Girls.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of them? Okay,
they own that Drake song.
See, I don't pay attention to City Trends, so I don't know what's going on with the girls, but they got a song called "Fuck That Nigga," and for that song they sampled Kaya's "My Neck, My Back." And Kaya claims she ain't getting no check in the mail. And so she made a video. I might stick some of the rant that she gave up in here.
Q, P, bitch, you know I'm mad at you because you let them old dirty ass city girls sample my shit and you didn't pay me. Why you act like you got so much motherfucking money, you ugly fat neck bitch, and you got them 2 hoes pregnant, 2 friends supposed to be pregnant from your ugly ass at the same time. You know if you ain't had no money, them hoes wouldn't be with your ugly fat face ass. But if you was a real nigga, you would have called the queen to write for them young, dirty, ugly ass hoes, city girls, and you would have paid me, you know? So you think, oh, I ain't gonna put the single on the album, you know, because I don't want to pay Kaya. Fuck, nigga, you paying these hoes? Why you didn't pay a real bitch? That's why I don't like you fuck ass niggas. Fuck you, Quality Control. Fuck you, QC. I love you, Coach K. You know, I like an older man. I like Coach K. Now, Coach K, I love you. Now, we done did some bit. I love you. But you should have told that fuck nigga to pay me.
You are not somebody I want to be on the phone. I mean, be on the phone with, period. Calling about anything.
Who want to call Kaya?
Right.
Who? But the thing is, what's funny about it all is that P actually put up his receipts, because if you out here claiming somebody done stole some shit from you, P put up the motherfucking, what fucking I never call honey, a one sheeter, which is all it takes to show where he actually reached out to everybody. He reached out to E1, which is Kaya's publisher. He reached out to Memory Lane, and he reached out to Third Slide. All 3 of those people are the people who he was supposed, because what happens is, and we've talked about the ASCAP on here before, the music body, the ASCAP that people go through. You know, you go to them to find out who own what and who do what, and who you need to reach out to make sure that you can get the proper clearances and the people are getting paid and all of that.
Right.
You can reach out straight to them. You ain't even got to reach out to the artist. You just reach out to the ASCAP, and they're going to tell you who own what and what to do. And so when P reached out to the ASCAP, they said, okay, you need to hit up E1, Memory Lane, and Third Slide. They didn't say Kaya.
They did not.
They didn't say Kaya because you don't got your shit together.
Right.
And that's, we know this though, Kaya. Like, we know this about you at this point. You all talk and no display. You all talk, sis. You don't have your paperwork together the way that you claim. You don't have your shit together the way that you claim. And all P had to do was pay $10,000, which is as far as clearances go, that's a drop in the bucket.
Right.
Especially for my neck, my back. That's like your biggest hit, girl. And all they had to pay was $10,000 to get clearance to use it. Girl, and you out here on the internet cutting up about $10,000, which just further displays
that you're not even gonna see, but maybe it's
your
anything,
financial condition.
Right. That's not gonna be anything. Once they break that down between the public and those 3 individuals, those 3 companies, and then
and let's say that you would have been added in there, you still wasn't gonna come out with much money, sis.
Right.
You wasn't gonna get much. But that just, like I said, it just shows where you are financially. You're not. But it looks that way. It looks like you're not in a good place. But that just further makes me wonder, like, why did you go out there and get a new booty? You ain't got no money.
She got that.
You
booty
ain't got
for
no
free.
money.
That's why she advertised it on the Instagram.
No, Madonna booty might have been free too, bitch. The way it looked.
Yeah.
Madonna booty might have been free too.
Yeah, Madonna needs to come forward with her doctor so we know who not to go to.
You know what? And like I said, I'm gonna put some of what Kaya said. She's enough of a fool. She should have interested y'all enough in this conversation. I don't have nothing else to say. We all know that Kaya be out here acting like she got her shit together, but she not. It's sad to me that she was not able to make it work out with T.S. Madison, because what I will say is, you can say, you know, I've even said Kaya was the most interesting thing about her and T.S. Madison working together, because Kaya is the messy one. She's the more in your face one. She's the more interesting one of that duo. But when it comes to the paperwork, and when it comes to making sure that everything was going to be done as the coins were going to clear, T.S. Madison is the one who was needed for that.
Right.
And that's the part that's important, because you could be out here running your mouth all day and making people laugh, but if you ain't getting no coin, bitch, what it matter?
Right.
What it matter, bitch? It don't mean nothing. So T.S. was the one that was making sure that shit was together, and she was trying to bring Kaya into the new age to where you don't just act a fool, but you get paid to act a fool.
Right.
And Kaya wasn't able to, you know, her mentality, her hood mentality is just not at that level. It's not at that level to make sure you got your paperwork together. It's just not. You didn't do it then, and you're not doing it now. So that's that. But let's briefly, Madonna booty, girl, this ass.
She got the ass she deserves.
Let me say this. I saw a bunch of think pieces out there from all of these white women who say that, y'all are trying to tell Madonna what to do with her body. This is her body. She can do what she wants with it. Baby, she can. But let me tell you what the problem is. That ain't no good booty. Okay? She didn't get that. That's the problem. She didn't get that booty done at a good place.
Right.
She went to Tiny and them peoples.
Right. And she got money. She couldn't find a good
Madonna
doctor.
Net worth, and I had to take this down because that was my biggest problem.
Like
it ain't that you got a fake booty. It's her net worth is estimated to be between $590 to $850 million. Somewhere in there, because it depends on who you go to. They claim whatever. But the point is, Madonna got too much money to have came off of the table with a booty that looked like it's padded.
Lord. What I feel like she did was she went to her doctor who she used for her injections and all the rest of her stuff, and he's not used to doing booties. And she said, I want a booty. And then when Madonna asked you to do that, you do it. And then that's what he did.
You do, because that's the same thing. That's the same thing. I'm glad you said it, because that's the same thing with Michael Jackson. When you in that type of power, if Michael Jackson tell a doctor to shoot me up until a bitch can't remember that I'm Michael Jackson, then shoot me up. That's what you do because of who the person is, and that's fame, money, and power, which we'll be getting into.
You've been having me on retainer that I'm supporting me, my kids, my family, my next door neighbor.
Come on now.
And so I've been on retainer all these years, and you asked me to give you a booty. I'll give you a booty.
Come on now, because let me clear it up a little bit, because I always give people with plastic surgery a hard time, but really what my real issue is, and I said it in 2019, I'm gonna be clearing stuff up. I'm gonna try to be more forthcoming and more expressive of exactly how I feel about things. I ain't got no problem with plastic surgery. I think we don't even mention before. We know Kelly Rowland had her titties done. She clearly, and then like this video, she said that this ain't the same Kelly you knew, and she kind of lifted up on her titties when she said that line, and she was letting you know, like, bitch, I done did a little thing or two. Like, I'm not the same. I'm not flat chested Kelly. I done went and got my shit done, and Kelly got the right titties for her frame, and she looks beautiful. And even I'll be honest about. She didn't go get those. No, she didn't. She wasn't trying to look like a letter in the alphabet. She didn't get those. And even my fave, Mariah Carey. I'm gonna be honest. Mariah had some breasts. She had some stuff done with her breasts because Mariah titties used to be a little bit more spread out. That's no shade. That's no shade because some women's titties are like that. And that's fine. That's just a titty is a titty. There's nothing wrong with that. But she definitely had some work done, and she got them a little bit more together, and they are a little bit bigger than they were. And I don't have no problem with that because Mariah got titties that fit her frame. Janet Jackson has had work done, and I don't feel like Janet ever went to the point to where she was unrecognizable, where she became an Annie doll, like some people, and even I recently talked about Christina Aguilera getting plastic surgery on her lips. Now, what I will say is that when she initially got it done, she looked at a hot mess. But I think that the whatever they injected has finally sat in.
It done sat in now. I ain't seen
it. It done sat in. You got to go look at her pictures lately. It done sat in. Either she got a new makeup artist or it done sat in. It's one of the.
With the lips, I think you can go and get some of that taken out. So she may have had to get an alteration.
So maybe she had some. Whatever she had done, she's back to looking
normal,
like who we knew. Yes, she's back to looking like that girl. So so that is what it is. But if you go out there and you're doing stuff that is detrimental or looks detrimental to your health, K. Michelle, Tammy Roman, people, stuff like that, you going out there and getting that type of work done, then yeah, I think that people have a right to say something or to feel like, girl, maybe you ain't doing what's best, for your health. Like we ain't got to sit by. It don't make you sexist to sit by and watch somebody kill themselves.
And it's not even the fact that we care that she did it. It's just that it don't look good, and we have the right to comment on it. And it
don't look right.
Y'all commenting on her, telling her what she can. No, she can do whatever she want to do with it.
This the same Madonna that wrote a letter about Whitney Houston and saying she can't sing and who is this woman and she ain't shit and all this. Like that Madonna.
Right.
Talked about one of the greatest voices to ever grace this planet. And you think we can't talk about her booty? Come on now.
Right. Whole hot mess. Like I said, she got the booty that she deserves. I'm happy for her. I can't wait to see her next performance. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm ready to see it too because we didn't never get. I wanted like a complete turnaround. Like I wanted her to turn her ass around
at one point, but she didn't do a full spin. She was already
okay. Yeah. I need a spin. I need to see what that ass really. I'm waiting for the next music video because you know she's still trying to put music out here like we care.
Right.
But I'm waiting to see what that's gonna be about. So the last thing I think I wanted to mention, I can't go without talking about this today, is the Surviving R. Kelly documentary.
Ooh,
I can't not. That's a lot. Like that's a huge topic. We probably could have did an episode on that alone, but I'm not. Dream Hampton, who is the person, the black woman, because everybody's saying Lifetime, y'all doing documentaries about R. Kelly. What about the documentary about this white man over here and this white man over there? It was a black woman that put this damn documentary together, okay? She just put it on Lifetime.
Right.
Okay, it ain't like Lifetime put the documentary. It's a black woman that put this
together,
and she needed. Yeah, exactly. She needed to because it is black girls that are mainly affected by the things that R. Kelly has done. And so we have to, whether or not white people are holding up a lens to the people in their community that are doing fucked up stuff, as a black community, we need to come up. And it's time to do better. And I think that's the whole point of Don Lemon with Kevin Hart, all of this. It's time to do better as a community. Because we always talk about what the white people doing to us. We gonna nail y'all in the cross for police brutality. We gonna nail y'all to the cross about all this shit y'all did in the past and the history of it and all that. We gonna do all of that. But as a black community, we have issues within our own community that we have just been brushing under a rug for years and years and years that needs to come up and be handled. And I think that that's what Dream is doing.
Right.
And I'm here for it. And at this point, it is very good that she did this documentary because from what I heard, there are law enforcement officials in Chicago as well as Atlanta that are now reaching out to members, investigating. They're reaching out to people who were in the documentary. They're reaching out to people who, weren't in the documentary that say that they were impacted or affected by the things that R. Kelly done to try to come up with some type of charges to get his ass. Because it needs to happen. He has a serious problem. He is a predator. He is a monster. You can talk all day about we need to get Harvey Weinstein. Yes, we do. But R. Kelly is still a monster. Right. Like that does not change the point of him being a monster.
He is still doing these things. Still.
He is still. Now what I will say is y'all parents that put y'all kids in this situation post 2010, my sympathy is at a zero.
Zero.
If you took your kid to the R. Kelly concert,
who did this in the 90s?
Come on. Aaliyah. That's Aaliyah parents.
There's a lot of them girls' parents. What was y'all?
It's a lot of them.
Ain't no way. Mm-mm.
And Aaliyah, it's like I say, there's a lot to this. I'm only gonna mention certain things here. And y'all, if y'all have seen the documentary, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Dream Hampton did a great job. She actually has more documentaries that are going to be coming out because people are acting like just because she did R. Kelly mean that this is all she finna do. No, Dream has signed on, honey, for a deal, sis. And she's got more coming out. And she's actually going to be doing documentaries about voter suppression and things that just affect the black community, period, in a bunch of different ways. She's got a lot coming. So all of y'all that feel like that she's just picking on R. Kelly, stay tuned. Because she's got a lot. She's going to get white people together, too. Don't even worry about it. She's going to do it. But like I said, there's a few things I want to mention. One, I'm going to start with this Demetrius Smith, who was the personal assistant of R. Kelly at this time, who was a grown-ass black man during the time that all this was happening. He is the one who admitted on the documentary that he changed Aaliyah's age. He forged documents to make Aaliyah look like she was 18 so that R. Kelly could officially marry her. People like that, we need you in jail.
Right.
Bruh. You could have went straight from that camera straight to some handcuffs. We need you in jail because if you sat here and it's amazing for fame, money, and power. It's amazing what you can do when you got those three things. It is amazing the things that you can slide by. The amount of people who will help you do things that they know are wrong. When you got those three things, because R. Kelly, we already know R. Kelly had a problem. His brother has talked about how he was molested by his sister.
Right.
Both of them were molested by their sister when I think one of them was 6 and one of them was 10. He's spoken about that. We know that you kind of were almost kind of bred into this. You were your hormones were opened up long before they should have been. Like, you were exposed to things at a young age that you shouldn't have been exposed to. And so it has sort of led you down this path, and that's not an excuse, but it's just the beginning of where this came from. And so we know you got a problem. But for these other people who have all been around R. Kelly and have benefited from enabling him to do the things that he does, y'all need to be right in the jail cell along with everybody else. Held the fuck accountable. And then Aaliyah's mama released a statement, and she said that the woman, because there's a woman on the documentary, if you've seen it, her name is Giovanni Cunningham, and she says that she actually saw R. Kelly. Now, it's been rumors out here for years that R. Kelly had married Aaliyah, you know, at the age of 14, and I had seen, you know, mock paperwork showing that she, and I believed it. Like, I've never been a serious R. Kelly fan, so this don't affect me one way or the other.
Right.
But I believed it then and there. But to have somebody on camera actually say, "Yo, I saw R. Kelly fuck Aaliyah," girl. It was disgusting, and it was hard to see.
What did Aaliyah mama say?
The mama said the woman and so-called backup singer that describes seeing, meeting, or even breathing the same air as my daughter Aaliyah is lying and is a liar. My husband and I were always on tour with her, and at interviews, I want to hyphenate and put some power behind the word interviews. And every place she went throughout her entire career, whoever this woman is, I've never seen her before anywhere on planet Earth until now. Let me say this.
The reason you ain't seen it is because she wasn't there.
That's one. Two, you claim you were here for interviews. One of the most, you know, notorious interviews that we've seen that dealt with R. Kelly and Aaliyah was the one when they went, I don't know where the hell they was at, but there was a black woman that, and they showed this in the documentary, it was a black woman that asked, she said, you know, at that time, I think Aaliyah may have been either 14 or 15, and R. Kelly was like 27. And they asked, people out here think that y'all are either boyfriend and girlfriend or cousins or whatever. Like, what is it? Because they came on the set with matching outfits, all hugged up under each other and all of this. And she said, well, we're just really close. You know, this is just my best friend in the whole wide world. Mama, who just claimed in this statement that you was here, where were you when that interview was done? Were you there, sis? That your 14, 15-year-old girl is being asked a question about being in a relationship with a 27-year-old man.
Right.
It should have been canceled at that moment. If you were a real mama, you would have had a problem at that moment. There's no reason why somebody should be interviewing your daughter and asking a 14, 15-year-old if she is in a relationship with a 27-year-old man. There's nothing acceptable about that. And I don't care if Giovanni lying. I don't care who lying. What ain't lying is that interview.
Right.
You wasn't there. Or you were there and you was using Aaliyah as a cash cow, which is how I personally feel.
It's a whole hot mess. It's disappointing how the public and how a lot of people overlooked all of this. But another thing I do want to say is that the people saying, oh, just because you don't, just because we canceled R. Kelly, don't mean we have to cancel his music. The reason specifically why, and I understand that because I've taken that a policy. I can look past your actions and see the gift that God gave you and separate that from what, you did. But the reason that R. Kelly is different because he specifically used his music to woo the American public, to woo people, and to remain aloof of his actions. He calls himself the Pied Piper of R&B for a reason, because he knows as long as he keep making his hits, writing these songs, they're not gonna care what I do. As long as I got
when
them
they get on my tail,
name of love, as long as I got them bumping and grinding, as long as I got them whatever, as long as I got them believing I can fly.
Come on,
they
come
on.
on.
They're gonna overlook, and that's exactly what he did. He understood his gift, and he understood how to use that to not pay for his actions. He was a master manipulator, and that is why he and his music is canceled. for me.
Let me say this though about the cancel music thing. I'm not opposed to canceling his music at all. But what I want to know is that does that extend to songs that he has written?
No, for other people. I didn't. I had this same argument. It was like, oh, so you trying to say that songs he written for Celine Dion and Whitney Houston and this that? No, because at the end of the day, those songs. When you think of those songs, I don't think of R. Kelly. I think of, and they don't represent what he used. And also, he didn't. Those songs, writing songs for other people, did not help him evade his actions. You get what I'm saying? He used his own music, the music that he sang, the music that was on his album, and the music that is directly tied to him to evade his actions. The songs that he wrote for other people, those songs didn't impact his public perception. Because especially at that time, people didn't even know he was writing. They don't know who wrote what song. They just hear it on the radio. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people aren't aware about this stuff.
So the songs that he wrote for other people, I view those as separate because. And the reason is because specifically the songs that he wrote for himself were the songs that were used to evade his actions, specifically.
So it's a few other little things that I wanted to know here. One, Bruce Kelly, who is one of R. Kelly's brothers, the one that was in jail in the documentary, he made a comment on there that said that everyone has a preference. I like older women. Robert likes younger women. What's the big deal? Okay, I don't even got nothing to say to that because you are the way you need to be. Jail. Okay. Because if you feel like that's okay to say, jail. You exactly where you're supposed to be. Let's see who else I wanted to mention. Lady Gaga, she did a song with R. Kelly a few years back, which I thought was stupid and dumb and sort of reckless and irresponsible when she did it. Lady Gaga did a song, I think it's called Do What You Want With My Body or some shit like that. It was very disgusting. The performances for the song were very disgusting. I'll say I didn't like it. It just felt wrong. It felt, I don't know. Well, Lady Gaga kind of explained where she was mentally. You know, she has come out as a domestic abuse survivor herself. And so I think at that time she was in a dark place. And I think she said to herself like and when she said that, I understood it. I forgave Lady Gaga for that. And I commend her for even coming forward because we live in a society where when these people get this money, fame, and power, and those things combine, so does, ego and arrogance and all those things kind of creep their way up in there, Kevin Hart. And these people feel like they don't ever have to apologize for the things that they do that is not necessarily right. So I commend Lady Gaga for coming forward and saying that she supports these women 1,000% because that song was, regardless of what Lady Gaga had going on, that song kind of was one of the ones that like, it was supportive of R. Kelly's behavior. Right. For him to have a song called Do What You Want With My Body.
As if she believed his side of what he was saying.
Exactly. It was and it's like he used you in a vulnerable time as well, to kind of further push to further make what he has done his entire career okay. Right. And so I'm glad that she's come out and she's, she said that she believes these women and that she, she was in a dark place. So I'm not going to hold her accountable because I know that people.
Because she's taking accountability for her own actions.
She did. And hurt people. Like I'm aware of that. But at some point you got to grow up. You got to realize that, whatever actions you may have took still may have been, regardless of what you was going through, your actions still may have, furthered a message or an image that you were not trying to do. And that's what happened with her case. So I'm cool with that. Charlamagne the God. I know that there was a lot going on with him. People were feeling like he should not have been included in the documentary for the situation that happened with him and that Jessica girl. I don't think that it was necessary for him to have been in the documentary. I didn't see anything that he said that we could not have dealt without. Right. But at the same time, I don't
necessarily equate. Agree with what you're right.
Come on, I don't equate Charlamagne's situation with R. Kelly.
And I think that we even to the bottom of Charlamagne's situation at this point. Or
say that again, bitch. This Bluetooth is acting a fool.
No, you're good. I'm not even sure we to the bottom or what side of the fence we determined. What happened with Charlamagne's situation, we don't. Whether he's innocent or guilty or whatever.
We never did officially find. Like I feel like people are kind of like believe, like, I think it's one of those things where you could either believe one way or the other. You could believe everything that Jessica said and believe that Charlamagne was just whatever, or you could believe his side of it. I don't think that we really necessarily have proof one way or the other whether or not Charlamagne. And I think we said that like when we talked about this before, like I can't just sit up here and act like I'm finna cancel Charlamagne because I don't officially know exactly what all transpired with that situation. So right. I don't think it was. I just will say that it was not necessary for him to be included. Now, Dream Hampton, like I said, the woman who produced this, she did comment on that, and she said that she had not seen any of the stuff with Charlamagne before including him in the documentary. I know that a lot of this was shot months ago. Of course, it's been a process putting all of this together. This is not just something that you a product that you end up with overnight. Right. It takes a lot of time to put something like this together. I don't know if I believe what Dream said though, because it's like, girl, like for all the research you did into R. Kelly, you didn't look into the victims at all or the people who were speaking on the matters at all. I don't know if I believe what she was saying, but you can have that one way or the other. Personally, like I said, I was not offended by what Charlamagne, his contributions to the documentary. I was not offended.
Right, me either, and I wasn't offended either. But you know, if you are, I understand.
Okay, yes. I'm not saying you don't have a right to be. That's not what I'm saying at all. So yes, that's just one of them things where we're gonna have to take it or leave it. It's either or. The other little Andrea Kelly, sis. Did she go? Wasn't she in the car playing his music still or something like that? Was that recent? There's a video of her from 2017 where she has defended R. Kelly. There was also a video of her from early 2018 where she also.
I feel like it's partly
defending him then
because he kept her locked up in that room. She didn't actually see what he was doing. And part of it is that is the father of her children, and if his legacy goes, so will, her subsequent. I won't say her legacy altogether, but definitely her children's and all of that, and how they view their father, and so on and so forth. Even though she's saying that he's a deadbeat father, but I don't know. She's not making a whole lot of sense. But what I do believe is that he had her locked up in that room, and that she was knocking and asking if she can come downstairs and get a sandwich. That's what I do believe. So
I believe it too, but it's just like
pick a side. That need to be damn.
Yeah, because it's like
pick a side.
You can't be out here. You can't be out here saying that I don't give a fuck what y'all got to say about R. Kelly, and then a year later, or not even a whole year later, you are in a documentary crying and talking about all of the abuse that you have experienced and that he needs to face the consequences.
You're not even going to tell all of it. You're just going to give just a piece of it. Girl.
To be honest, we heard more about her situation from Sparkle, who said that she saw her up there knocking.
Oh, yeah, because
we heard more about what she went through from Sparkle.
Andrea didn't even say that. She said that
she didn't.
Because that's why I got to think of Sparkle said that I'm sitting in the living room watching the game, and I'm hearing a knock on the door, and R. Kelly is looking like
ain't nobody knocking.
And then the knocking just kept going, and she finally said, "Is somebody knocking on one of these doors? What's going on?" And then he finally let her come in the room, and she asked him, "Can she go get something to eat? Can she come down?"
I'm hearing more about what you experienced through other people than we heard from your own mouth what it is that you experienced. I feel like I don't feel like Andrea Kelly, ruined the documentary in any way, but I do feel like she's a tainted image. She's a tainted presence on the documentary because
she's not 100 with herself, and so you can't be 100 with us. That's what I feel.
Come on now, that's a good. You can't be 1 minute proclaiming that at the height, because she said all of this. She was like in these videos that she put out there. She said, like, at the height of the dark cloud being over him, he was still out here taking care of his family and making sure that we had and all of this. And it's like you can't try to big him up for still making music while, fucking with underage women. Right. And then being a documentary talking about he's so abusive and he's so this and he's so that.
Like mentally she hasn't fully grasp the abuse. She needs counseling. She needs therapy. She hasn't fully accepted and understood, and I feel like she's still partly a victim of his abuse. She's still suffering from the consequences, and she probably doesn't even see it herself. It's almost like she's brainwashed to a certain degree. And so
I know that one of R. Kelly's children, I can't remember which one, but I think it's the girl. She came forward recently too and said that she supports the women and that she called him a monster. And if your child got that to say, she said she hadn't even spoken to him in years. If that's what your child got to say, I really don't got nothing else to say. I like all the people that are out there. I don't see y'all trying to just come for R. Kelly. Y'all trying to just do that. If R. Kelly's daughter say that, I think everybody else needs to shut up.
Right.
That's just how I personally feel. Like if she who lived and was raised and grew up in that house, 'cause she said I grew up in the house. She said, kids are inquisitive. They they be around the house looking and shit. It ain't no telling how many rooms she went in and saw girls up in there with buckets in the corner with shit in it.
Right.
Like it ain't no telling what all that girl saw. And if she's saying that he's a monster,
ain't got no car. Have you seen that video?
I haven't. What is that, girl?
It's a video. Black girl with her daughter, her son. I don't know if I think it's a girl. She's on live, Instagram live or somebody live eating crab legs, and then her daughter. You don't see her daughter, but you hear her daughter in the background, and her mom is talking about the crab legs, talking about this, that, and the third, entertaining the people, and then the kid busts out. It's probably like 3 or 4 years old, no more than that. My mama ain't got no car. On the live.
You know what? I think it might be a Bible verse, but my parents used to say all the time, out of the mouths of babes. Okay? Out of the mouths of babes, honey.
They will speak the truth.
The truth
will come out because they gonna say the truth, and
they are. They fucking are. So if she got that to say, I don't have a. Once his daughter said, I already didn't have a worry in defense of him, but once his daughter said that, it really was like, I don't really care what no one else's opinion is. If his own child is calling him a monster, then that's just what it is. And the thing about, yes, we need to get Harvey Weinstein. Yes, we need to get Matt Lauer. Yes, we need to get all these other people. That argument does not negate what R. Kelly did.
Right.
Two things can be true at the same time. And that's just that's not something that you use in defense. That's just not. One more thing that I wanted to mention. I know, did you see that Matthew Knowles spoke about this too?
Yes, that he kept Destiny's Child away from them.
Now, what I will say is he ain't necessarily keep them away. Destiny's Child did work with R. Kelly.
Right. That's what I was.
But he was there. And so was Tina.
Right. And
he said that even if them girls had to go to the bathroom, honey, Tina was walking with them to the restroom. And I think that was an example of, and that was early on. That was like late 90s when, the rumors about him and Aaliyah and all that stuff was coming out, but nobody had definitive proof as to, the type of person that he was. But there was enough of a word out there that you knew that you needed to watch your young girls around him. And so I commend Matthew and I commend Tina for the way that they handled that, because he was an artistic genius. And like I say, at that time, we didn't even have the whole peeing on her and all. None of that had happened yet. So the way that they handled it is the way that I expected other parents to really handle it. Like the set of parents the ones that was throwing the rock at the window, the ones that sent their older daughter out there to be with the younger daughter, I feel like that was irresponsible. I feel like you should have sent yourself. Don't send your daughter. Don't send. Why would you send one daughter out there, then send the other daughter to watch them? No, right. You need to be there yourself to watch what's going on. And that's exactly what Matthew and Tina did. They were there themselves to make sure that there was not a moment when one of them girls was out of their sight from them. And I know that Matthew talked about not using the song because whatever song that they came up with was not on par with what Matthew wanted for the girls' debut album. But they did end up, and you can hear this, they did end up recording a song that R. Kelly wrote. Now, what I will say is that R. Kelly was not, I had to go dig in my tea, honey. I want to make sure I had everything together. they did. R. Kelly was not in the studio when they recorded this song, and I'm glad that he was not, because the song is called "Stimulate Me."
Lord.
And they did record it. Destiny's Child recorded it. It was not on their debut album. It came out in '99, and it was on the Life. There was a movie called Life. It was on the soundtrack for that movie, and you can go hear that song. And it's a sexual song, because that's what R. Kelly was doing. He was taking his experiences with fucking with them little girls, and he was making songs out of it. And that's the other reason why, like you saying, people should cancel his music, is because a lot of the inspiration for the stuff that he was coming up with was dealt, directly with situations that he was having with these girls.
Right.
And so that was another one of those songs, "Stimulate Me." I don't know if Matthew said that. I had to go digging for my tea with that. I don't think he even announced or said that they did record a song.
He said that they did record a song, but he said that it didn't make the album because it just didn't fit the album or whatever.
Okay. I don't know if "Stimulate Me" was that song, or if that was a separate song that they recorded by R. Kelly. But that song did come out in '99.
"Stimulate," because he said the other song, he said it wasn't good. They didn't use it for anything. So they must have recorded two songs. And he mentioned the name of the song that they did not use, and it was not called "Stimulate Me."
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, one more thing that I wanted to mention. Ooh, baby, you got to be careful when you sign your name and say, "I'm finna come forward and I'm finna run my mouth and talk about what R. Kelly doing," and you got some stuff in your own corner that ain't looking cute. Did you hear about Torrey? No, Torrey, honey. No, but of course Wendy life is fucked up. She didn't need to be in the documentary at all. I didn't understand why she was there.
Right.
It's like, girl, what are you here for? But Torrey, who was the one that interviewed R. Kelly back in the day and asked him if he liked teenage girls. That one.
Okay.
You remember him?
Okay. I don't think I watched the last part of the documentary, so I may not have seen his, or I think I missed like 2 episodes of the documentary. But
okay, Torrey he's a well-known journalist and interviewer. He was a part of the hip hop culture. He did a lot of interviews on BET and MTV and all that stuff. He's been going around to all of these little media outlets and stuff, post the documentary and talking about R. Kelly and talking about the interview he had. Well, baby, there's a girl who came forward. Her name is, I think, Dana or something to that effect. And she said that she accused him of workplace sexual harassment in the comment section. Because like I said, he's been going around to all these different places, from podcasts to TV. On one of the podcasts in the comment section, she accused him of workplace sexual harassment. And he did come forward and make a statement about it and saying that, yes, he did say some stuff that was out of line or whatever, and that he has apologized for these things and this and that. Whew. And she came forward with some of the stuff that he had said. She didn't like the apology that he gave. He said that it was crass banter that they were, doing amongst the office place, and it was something that everybody was participating in. And she said that it was nothing crass about it, and it was not. She said that people actually felt a need to deal with it because they wanted to keep their job.
Right.
Like she felt like she it was something that she had to go through, or something that she had to deal with just to keep a position. And she said some of the stuff that he said. She says, does anyone go to work and have their coworker ask about their asshole? She said, if you shave or if you wax your vagina, if you like anal, and if your coworker suggests that you try it with him, have a man 2 inches from your face say how much he wants to come all over your face. If anyone tells you that you must have sex from behind because your ass looks good, if your legs are sexy and you tease and pretend to grab them while you're doing your job. So she came forward with a lot of, and it was true, because she even put out there the DMs that they had. Apparently they DM'd each other back in 2017 before this documentary came out, probably in the process of Torrey filming his part for the documentary. And the girl was warning him, like, you need to be careful about the stuff that you do and the stuff that you say, because everybody ain't going to be like me and not going to come forward with what you done did. And Torrey, was saying, he apologized to her then, I apologized for saying the stuff that I said, and I was immature and this and this and that. But finally, she did come on out and put it out there in the truth, I guess, after seeing Torrey go around from media outlet to media outlet trying to bury R. Kelly.
Right.
She was like, okay, now you done did some shit in your life too. Whew. I didn't even know how to feel about that.
A mess. It's just a mess. It's a whole mess. But to me, it's becoming a purge. It's like a cleansing of all of this foolishness, and it's almost like it will not. Hopefully, what will come is that it will not be tolerated moving forward. Like there's a purge, everybody being called out and put out for this behavior, and then after that, it will no longer be tolerated. And so, at the end of the day, he clearly did these things, and he deserves the consequences, whatever those consequences may be. I don't believe it is as harsh as what R. Kelly deserves. But
yeah, because I think that she is of age at least. That's
right.
not an excuse as to
but if
you
he
get to say whatever you want
or something like that. That's that's on par.
So do you feel at all? And don't nobody counsel me for asking this. It's just a question. Do you feel at all like because he did apologize to her in private initially when they talked about this via DM? And she made it seem as if she was not going to come forward and say anything about this. Do you feel as if she's wrong for saying any of this in the public?
Because from my understanding, well, I don't know this. Let me say this. If he did it in public, if you harm me in public, you need to apologize in public. At the very least. So if he's doing this in front of people especially, he needs to apologize in public. Now, if he did it privately, I can't say whether or not how she feels or what she should and should not do, especially if it's her truth at the end of the day. So that's
that, I believe that I agree with that. I think that you've definitely got to be. That's not behavior that I exhibit.
Right.
And so I think whenever I talk about other people or whatever situations they have going on, I think about myself and I think about the things that I've gone through and the things that I've said and done. Being at work and making sexual jokes and asking people to come on can I come on your face? That's just not, that ain't it.
Right.
That ain't it. Like I don't know. I've been around some, like even though I'm not gonna act like at work they don't joke sexually. Like somebody could say, I know I heard this probably was like Thursday. I heard this. Somebody said something about somebody ate your nuts or something like that. Somebody said that at work and like other people started kind of laughing and giggling because these people just they act like they not 40 and 50 and shit, and they just act like that's just so fucking funny.
They act like they children.
They act like they kids at times. They really do. And I sit there and I'm like, okay, that's not that funny, but okay. But yeah, they say I do hear those things at work, but I don't hear anything that's like just I want to come on your face. Do you do anal sex and all that's just like, oh God, like that's
too much.
That ain't even something that I joke about in private,
right? Let
alone doing that in the workplace. And you in a position of power at work.
Right.
So that's, I don't know. These people got to be careful because this new, the thing about it is, there's a change happening. And you either need to get with it or you're going to get gone. It's a change happening. And in the same way that we sit here and we say that it's not cool for him to make jokes to this girl about anal sex and coming, it's not cool to be making jokes about, slamming something over your son's head because he gay. It's just not cool. It's just not cool. Times are changing, and you got to either get with it or get gone. One or the other.
I agree with everything.
Okay, so I'm pretty much at the end. I know you were done already.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am at the end. I did want to save this time to. I'm going to speak on Kevin one more time, and it's kind of why I kind of just hinted at it a little bit. Because I don't ever want to sound unreasonable. Because one of the things that Kevin has been going around to all of these media outlets and, making himself out to be the victim that he is not, I feel that he exacerbated the situation beyond what it needed to be. But what I will say is being honest and being reasonable, being the person that I am, regardless of how I feel about Kevin at the time, this whole situation did come out of nowhere. Okay. I don't recall. I dug into this and I still don't know where this came from. I don't know who was the person who dug into these old tweets. I don't know who, I didn't see nobody in the LGBT community saying that they were the one that dug into it. I don't know who brought this to life. And what I will say is that I think one of the things that Kevin said on Ellen is that he feels like it was an attack on him. Okay. I don't know who, I didn't see nobody in the LGBT community saying that they were the one that dug into it. I don't know who brought this to life. And what I will say is that I think one of the things that Kevin said on Ellen is that he feels like it was an attack on him. As much as I don't want to agree with that, because I don't think that Kevin understands that regardless of whether it was an attack or not, it was still inappropriate what you said. Nobody made up what you said.
Right.
But the timing of it, to be honest and to be the person that I am, the timing of it is peculiar. I'm not going to lie about that. I do feel like there's somebody somewhere, high or low, that saw you get this gig and didn't want you to get it. And they brought this in.
I'm sorry, you can go.
Okay, they brought this forward, and they knew you enough to know that your ego, your arrogance, and your big-headedness was going to be enough that you were going to put the final nail in the coffin. And we experienced that. All of us experience that on a daily basis, I would probably say. You go to work, and there are people at your job that don't like you. There are people in positions of power that don't like you, that will put obstacles, even not even at your job. This is just life. Life will put obstacles in your way,
right, to
try to prevent you from getting to where you are trying to go. And it is up to you as to how you respond to those obstacles and how you allow those obstacles to affect where you are trying to go. If you keep your focus and you handle these things well and you get past it, then what they say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, but that's going to be up to how you handle the weapons that come before you.
Right.
And so my thing is that I do believe, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you get to it. I'm sorry. I got to get this out.
Take your time.
I do believe that somebody purposely went out there digging for this, because I said that back 32 days ago when we recorded the episode and I talked about this, I said that I honestly, personally did not care about these texts from Kevin Hart. I've dealt with homophobia my whole life. I've been called gay in the middle of school in front of 50, 60 people. I've been called that. I've already dealt with all of this growing up. So it's not you're not offending me. So I know how this goes. So it didn't impact me in that way, but I definitely do feel like somebody pulled this and they knew that this would be something, whoever it was, whether it was somebody who wanted to host the Oscars and wasn't allowed to do it or whatever the case may be. They knew if I get this up here, Kevin's so big-headed, he ain't gonna even see this coming, and he gonna respond to it from a place of security and from a place of feeling like he ain't gotta explain nothing to nobody, and right. he gonna cancel himself. All I gotta do is put this out here, and he gonna cancel himself, and you fell right into the trap.
Right.
And that's the thing about it. Like this happens in life. And Kevin, if every time an obstacle like this comes up, you gonna just go ahead and fall right into it, your thing should have been apologize, move forward, and then have that person sitting on the sideline bawling.
Right. Because
the fucking obstacle that they put in front of you, the fucking weapon that they put in front of you did not prosper. You should have had them on the sideline bawling, but whoever to put this out here, you got them over there laughing now. Because now your whole rollout for this new movie that you in is swamped right. in this whole issue that you made, that you exacerbated. Go ahead.
And I just wanted to say, it just goes back to what you said initially when fucking I even talked about, if you walk and stand in your truth, can't nobody spray you with it. If you would have handled this and addressed it and said, I made a mistake, this is what it is, and I'm not perfect, I'm going blah, 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 anything genuine, and nobody could go back and bring back tweets, and then it caused this type of commotion because it would have been handled and dealt with. But you this is how you chose to handle it, and this is how it played out. Point blank and the period.
I think I'm gonna name this episode "Walking Your Truth."
Yes,
I really do like that. That is probably the message in 2019. That is a good message for going into 2019, is the walking your truth. And that's not something, I'm not saying that I'm just every day living my life, I'm walking in my truth all the time. It's something that I have room to grow in myself, is walking in my truth. I think that that's something that we all need to work on, is walking in our truth.
Right.
So I did say that I had one thing that's going on in my personal life that I was going to possibly mention.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I really greatly appreciated everybody's prayers and messages and things about what my father was going through last year with the I was going to say heart stroke. Don't pay me no mind, y'all. I always combine them. Don't ask me why. with the heart attack, and I really do appreciate everything that you guys were saying. And so, unfortunately, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh my goodness.
The week before Christmas. Okay, so I've had this on my mind for quite some time now, and it was very unfortunate to find out at that time, because they had saved her doctor's appointment to give her more information on it and about the about how far it has spread it and what stage and all that. They saved all of that. It was like, okay, we're going to tell you this part now, but you're going to have to go ahead and go through Christmas and New Year's, and then we'll tell you the rest later. I personally, I'm not a doctor, not a nurse. I've taken some classes and all those things, but I'm not neither one of those things. I personally feel like that was not a good way for them to handle it.
Right.
I feel like that was something that they could have reserved until they had all of the information, especially if you knew that you weren't going to give her everything, until you should have just held all of it.
Right.
Just hold it all until us after the New Year, because my mother, Christmas means a lot to her, and her birthday is actually on New Year's. So it just wasn't a good feeling getting through the holidays with her having been so on edge about what is the state of what I'm going through. Like, she just knew she had cancer, and that's all she knew.
Right.
That was all she knew. Like, she didn't know how far.
Or anything, so they definitely could have helped.
They didn't start treatment. It's like, what was the point in ruining her holiday to give her that little, like, it ain't like you told her, well, you need to eat better or something. Like, you didn't say nothing. It's just, okay, you got cancer. We'll see you after the holiday when we get done celebrating with our families and being happy. No, like, I didn't like the way that transpired. But what I will say is that, God is walking with her through this. My mama is super holy, and the Lord is, she's super holy in a good way. Right. I don't want to make that sound bad. She's super holy in a good way, where she don't sit out here and judge other people and do all. She ain't one of them that feel like, oh, you got to be doing it this way, or you ain't godly, or she ain't like that. But my mama believes in God heavily. Right. Heavily, and He has been here with her throughout so much of what she has dealt with. And to give you an example of that, one example is that my mother actually, her best friend ended up getting cancer maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And at that time, my mother, just having known so many people who have had cancer, it felt unavoidable to her. And so at that time, when her best friend came down with cancer, which I want to say that they removed, and she's good now, my mama's best friend, she went and got a cancer policy. And so now, having been diagnosed with cancer herself, that policy is going to come into good. It's going to be of good use to help her pay for what she got to pay for and all this different type of things. So that's just an example of what she believes in, which is that, you're going to have to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but God promised that He's going to be here with you. Right. And that is what she is, she's living proof that is how it works. So we did end up, she had a doctor's appointment, I think it was last Monday or maybe this Monday. I went with her to that appointment, and the doctor said that it is stage 2 breast cancer. And from everything that he sees, he thinks that he can go in there, cut it all out, and it's going to be just fine, and she's going to be able to come through the other side of this thing unscathed. He thinks that everything's going to be fine. She's not going to have a whole mastectomy and all of that. He'll be able to go in and do what they call a breast conserving surgery and just cut out the tumor. It's about 2 centimeters, which is it's a little big, but it's not, super big. Right. Them things can get really big. It's not as big as like, what can happen. Right. So she caught it kind of on the early end, which is good. And he'll be able to cut that out. She's actually going to have the surgery this coming Tuesday. And I'll be up there with her along with my dad. And so I think everything's going to be fine. She'll go through a little chemo, a little radiation, and I think everything is going to be fine. And so any prayers or anything I would greatly appreciate. So I just wanted to give a little update on what's going on. And this is just really a message also that we all, as a people, we need to take better care of ourselves.
Right, we do.
All of us. And that's not, blaming this cancer or anything on my mother or anything, because I know that, we don't even have a full understanding of cancer. We don't have a full understanding of what causes cancer. We don't have it's so many things. It's no telling, exactly where this derived from and all of that. But we just need to fully, because even my mother, like, she loves seafood, and I tell her all the time, girl, that seafood is full of cholesterol and full of all the shit you don't need. And so it's just plenty of things out there we need to do better. We need to exercise more. You know, spring is on the way. Summer is coming after that. We need to exercise more. We need to get out and walk more. We need to do more. We need to do better.
Right.
Just a better job holistically of taking care of ourselves, eating better, doing whatever, like just trying at least. You know, it's one thing not to be perfect, because I'm not. I try to, you know, I try to eat fruit and eat vegetables and stuff here and there, but I ain't perfect. You know, I got some candy sitting up in here now, bitch, about to dig into. You know, I ain't perfect, but I do try. I think I ordered a treadmill. That was the one gift that I gave to myself. And I'm waiting on that bitch to come in now. I ordered a treadmill because I know that I don't like to go to the gym.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to have to
do something.
Get gym equipment into my house, because that's the only way that I'm going to work out. I'm not going to go up there to no gym and all these big muscle men looking at me like I'm stupid. I'm not doing it. So I'll have to bring the shit here. So we just have to do a better job of taking care of ourselves and just doing everything that you can to try to lessen the chances of something like that happening to you.
Right.
So any prayers, anything, I would definitely be taking them, because I feel like you guys came in handy, honey, because my dad's heart attack, the surgery that he had, the double bypass he had, went like better than better.
Right.
It went excellent, and I feel like a lot of that is the prayer, you know. So anything y'all got, I will accept. So thank you guys for everything. So I do want to say thank y'all for just asking all of the people out there who have been asking us to come on back and record, and y'all been waiting on us to get on the mic. We have read all of those messages, and thank you guys so much. That means so much to us, like being on this trip and just seeing those messages and just knowing that there are people out here who care about what we got to say in our whether we come back or not, right? Like, they actually care. So that meant a whole lot to us. We wanted to give you guys this episode. I do want to mention that there is a segment. I hadn't said this to Wise Guy yet. There's a segment that I will be adding. I wanted to do it this episode, but I wanted to do it right. Mm-hmm. So I said, let me just wait until the following week. But I will be adding I don't know what I want to call it, but it'll basically be a Black Excellence segment.
Okay.
That is something that I have sort of grown a love of, an attachment to, is spreading information about Black people in our communities that we don't know of. Not Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, the people that we know.
Right.
But those other individuals out there, whether it is dealing with the NFL or the NBA or dealing with inventors or performers who opened the doors for us to have and to be where we are today. Right. I want to start shedding a light on those people. I do it on Instagram all the time. So I figured, let me bring that same energy to the podcast. I don't just want to be here being messy talking about Wendy Williams, because that's not my life. I don't.
Right.
That's her life. I'm not shaped like a pea. That's her life. I don't want to just be doing that all the time. So I want to actually come and bring some stuff up, to the podcast that is indicative of what I actually care about and talk about in my everyday life. So I want to do that, and so we'll be doing that starting next week. I think I already know the first person that I want to do, and talk about a woman, a Black woman who invented something that is just, it's amazing. There are like 18 million people in the United States plus that are benefiting from what this one Black woman invented, and I'll be talking about that next week. So
I'm looking forward to this.
We'll be doing that. Yes, bitch. Yes. So we'll be doing that starting next week. So that's all I got.
All right.
Wise Guy.
That's all for me too as well. So I guess we finally done.
Yes, bitch. We finally done, honey. We done got through this. What is it? Who is the lady that come up there and do the church announcements, bitch? Because I feel like I'm the church announcement girl. Who is she? The secretary or the?
Oh, I have no
what
clue.
Is she? I don't know what they call her, but I'm her today. Okay. I am her, honey.
You Sister Patterson.
Yeah, come on.